too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tiege Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tiege Hanley as the sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tiege Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tiege Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tiege. Let the Tiege force be with you. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, somebody got feedback.
Loud and clear.
Somebody got some loud feedback.
Somebody look like they got a haircut.
Who's with all that feedback? It might be you, Luis.
Am I the one that's giving out the echo?
No, it's not an echo. It's just some feedback. Something like y'all have some emotion going on. Well, it's good to see you guys, man. Welcome to King Talk. We got an all-star panel. We got somebody else that may be popping in and out. So if you see me drop down, it's only to allow the conversation to keep going. I'm gonna make sure that I host a great show tonight. Shout out to all the Green Gang that's in the chat. We got Joe Lee, Lord Geotron, Treehouse, Big Bad Bull. Who else we got in there? Marcellus Davis. Shout out to all the Green Gang. If you want to become a member, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to the sponsor, Tiege Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Get 30% off along with a free gift. Make sure you guys click that link that's in the description. Got all type of great products, man. I use it every single day. Gentlemen, y'all good? Bruce, I see you looking nice. Bruiser, you there?
Bruiser. Yeah, man. My son slobbed on a bow tie. One of them I lost, and my toddler slobbed on the bow ties that I usually wear. So I had to wear a tie. So that's my explanation for looking nice.
Okay. Does anybody else want to take a poll? I feel like Bruiser puts the top on, but he definitely got on some basketball shorts, right?
Well, I don't think the men want to find out. So, Bruce, you just make sure you stay.
We don't want to. Oh, I lost.
Come on, Bruce. Come on, bro.
I lost.
You gotta chill, man. Gotta chill. Hit the like button if you haven't. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, I got some great topics for tonight, so go ahead and share the stream. I think it's important to go ahead and get this out there. This is going to be a phenomenal show. Y'all ready?
Right on, big brother. Right on.
All right, Shan, Cloud, y'all good? Before I get the show started, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. In case you guys don't know, this is the Lapeef Network. And with a network, I want you to think of like BT, VH1, MTV, Oxygen. It's a network, so you have all types of shows. With that being said, I don't like to censor anybody. Everybody's entitled to their opinion on their individual show. And occasionally you may have people that pop in and out to have a different perspective. I never know what nobody is going to say, but they are entitled to their opinion. The only thing that I don't like or not too fond of is just disrespect. So as long as it's an honest opinion, people are entitled to it. That's how we are able to come together and have these great conversations. I always say, let's just have a conversation. So I do want to put that out there that people are entitled to their opinions. So if you don't like it, then a healthy debate is always welcome on the network. So as long as we keep it there, everything is all good with me. So let's have a great show, gentlemen. Let's have a great show. I just wanted to do that public service announcement right there and put that out there. All right, our first topic of the night is when you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego. Let me go ahead and play this clip.
Prove I know who I am. I'm a very self-aware person. So when you're self-aware, even when you're dealing with someone's ego, you know when to allow it to live in its own space. The problem is when you engage that energy. If you engage the ego with your ego, then it's like now something has to happen. It could keep escalating to a level that can irreversible. But if you don't engage the ego, if you know how to manipulate or play around with the ego, or
that's
that
weird in
energy,
itself to people.
and you give light back to darkness. You
Right.
know, it's very difficult.
People don't know how to take that, especially at a younger age. Now when they're a bit older, they can probably understand what you're doing. But if you're in a room and people are bringing all of that wild energy into a room and you just take a step back into the shadow and just let them do that, they will take offense to it. Like, why are you playing along? Why are you getting involved in this? Did you have experiences like that?
Yeah, I'm sure. And a lot of times you can misinterpret that as arrogance. If someone doesn't engage you in the way that you believe they should, then people's like, he's arrogant. He's act like he's above everybody. Like, no, I just don't want to argue with you about stupid shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about it. When you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego. We're going to start with you first, Bruiser. What are your thoughts about that? You heard Jay-Z.
Yeah, so if you're self-aware, you don't got to prove nothing to nobody. But it's fun. It's fun proving yourself and proving shit to anybody. I get a kick out of it all the time. So I invite the contests on the things I say, or I invite people to try to challenge me to live up to whatever I say or whatever I am or whatever I support or wherever I promote. What, I can understand why he, opt to not want to get into it. I mean, look at him. Look at his body of work. Look at his achievement. Look at the things he's done. He don't necessarily have to do that. But if you're someone like myself that's trying to become a pillar, in this space or any space, you want to be able to have the conversation. You want to be able to invite the challenge. You want to be able to show that you can overcome them. So, in that, regard, I embrace it. I like whenever somebody's ego is going, I'll challenge it. And if they challenge me, I'm ready for it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go to you, Eric. What are your thoughts about it? You're on mute, just so you know. There you go.
Yeah, mute challenge. For me, man, the thing about it is this. That was a thing for me back in the day, right? Coming up. So I agree with what Bruce was saying to a certain extent, but there comes a time, man, where you just don't want to waste your time proving yourself to anybody. And I think sometimes when you're working so hard to prove yourself to someone, you may not even know what you're trying to even prove yourself. So self-awareness gets you to the point whereas I don't need nobody to understand me. You know, I am who I am, and you need to accept me as I am, right? And that's what it is, because a lot of anxiety, crazy stuff happens, you know, within yourself and within all your environments and everybody you're around when you're trying so hard to prove a point or show that you're right. And sometimes it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the brain power. And just like Jay-Z said, it's just not worth that exchange of energy. And really, quite frankly, I ain't got time for it.
All right. Brother Hank, what are your thoughts about it? When you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego.
Yeah. Let me say this. It's just unfortunate as our people. We do this shit a lot. You know what I'm saying? We do this a lot with each other, you know, and it's just unfortunate that we do it to each other, to the women that we deal that we come into contact with at times. But I think, like you said, as you get more mature and older, and you learn and you realize it's no need to doing that no more. It's like you said, like my man Eric said, it gets old. It really does. So I try to encourage my son, you know, don't fall into that trap. I did that. I did that same thing, trying to do that, try to prove myself to, you know, when we, like I said, playing the pickup game, going to the malls or the skating ring or whatever, trying to get girls, trying to prove ourselves who's going to get the most numbers. That was us. You know what I'm saying? Trying to prove ourselves like that way. So it's not worth it in the long run. It's not. Only person I got to prove something else is myself. And as long as I challenge myself every day to get better, be the best version of Hank, I'm good.
All right. I'm going to with that. You ready? All right.
Yeah, I was just trying to do like Trigger Mike. I was trying to write down my thoughts.
Setting the trend, Trigger Mike. Setting the trend.
Yeah. Shout out to Trigger Mike, writing the notes down. Yeah, I take a different spin. Yeah, for sure. I take a different approach. I understand what the gentleman is saying as it relates to, you know, when you're self-aware, you don't have to prove yourself. But I disagree in the sense of, you know, and you're in business, even though you're self-aware of who you are, you're definitely gonna have to prove that your body of work speaks for it. It can't just speak for itself necessarily. You have to basically present yourself and your body of work to those people. So, for example, if you are trying to be in real estate, right, and you want to get money from people, you're going to have to prove to them that you're worthy of the money that they're going to invest with you, and that they're going to get their money back. So even though you may be self-aware and very disciplined in nature and things that you do as an individual, you're going to have to prove yourself no matter how big your ego or small your ego is, right? Now, if you're referring to a situation where somebody's trying to prove dominance, then that's a different particular perspective. But I also would even challenge Jay-Z on the statement that he made to see if it's something that he learned after he recorded, after Ether was dropped, because I definitely remember the battle between him and Nas, and he definitely was trying to prove something with his ego. You know what I'm saying? He lost that battle, in my opinion. But nevertheless, I think that being self-aware, you're still going to have to prove yourself to people, no matter what. And so, but you should take that as an opportunity to sharpen your skill set. You know, I'm with Bruce. I think it's like when I have these conversations, I enjoy intellectual dialogue. I'm self-aware, but I also like to be able to educate people at the same time. And if they disagree with me, I like to be able to know why and be able to have that banter. But it doesn't take away from what I'm trying to do, because at the end of the day, I'm still having to prove myself to them in the end.
All right. Sweeney, what are your thoughts about it? When you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego.
I'm going to start off by saying this. This is going to be very interesting. Can you hear me now? Better? Well, yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting when we actually get to the main topic based off of everybody's responses. But I kind of agree with a little bit of what Bruiser said, a little bit of what Humble Dad said. I think it's fun to have, good conversations and be able to challenge people when they, sometimes it's fun to get in the mud. Somebody say something crazy, you just gotta, and sometimes you just gotta get out there and be like, hey, look, what you just said was crazy, bro. But also, I do believe in self-actualization, where when you truly know who you are, you truly know what path you walk on, it shouldn't matter to cater to someone else's ego. And I think that's kind of what he was alluding to, Humble Dad, is that it's the cater to somebody else's ego that's the problem. So you have to prove yourself to somebody else when they're trying to get rah-rah with you, or they trying to assert dominance over you. And you're like, man, bro, look, you can have it, bro. I ain't got to deal with that because I know who I am. You jumping, you getting rah-rah with me, or you know what I mean? But I'm cool. So I think that's what he was speaking to. I agree with you that when you're in a space where you need to show everybody you're competent in what you want to do and stuff like that, yes, you absolutely have to prove yourself. But I think just for the sake of feeding somebody's ego or challenging someone else's ego, no, I don't think you need to prove yourself to them at all. But sometimes it can be fun to challenge them.
Okay. Figure, Mike, what are your thoughts about it? When you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything.
What ego means?
You said, I'm sorry, say again, Mr. Eric.
I said, does every panel equally?
I don't know if that's
one thing.
Hey, Eric, go back out and come back in.
Because I think ego has a.
Okay.
Hey, Eric, go back out and come back in. You kind of freezing up.
I know what ego is, most definitely.
Yeah. So I think I focused on that part that says self-awareness, or talking about being self-aware, because we got to kind of focus on that particular part and define it as well. So positive self-awareness, in my opinion, is maturity, but negative self-awareness is narcissism or egotism, rather. And we see a lot of that from Jay-Z himself. I think somebody said the Ether saga and all of that. That's what egotism led him down that road, right? And I'll look back to I think Dr. John Henrik Clarke said it. He only debates with his equals. All others he teach. All right. And that positive self-awareness is when you know that you're kind of above all of it. And it takes time, right? If you're in a narcissistic area of your life and you feel like you got to take jabs and shoot back at everybody, then yeah, you're in that negative self-aware period of your life when you can easily brush things off and realize that these are just little people. These are just people throwing shots, and they should be honored that I even give them a response. Then you're probably in the positive self-awareness area of your life. And that comes with maturity. That comes with actually taking losses, right? So I think we're in a time now where people can provoke you into thinking they're your equal. I see that all the time. People throwing shots, jabs, and all of this, trying to provoke a response out of people that they don't really deserve. So I counsel young men, young frat, all of this, kind of know who you are. And it has a lot to do with knowing who your circle, who's in your circle. Sometimes I think people look to their right and their left and don't realize they made it to the big leagues, right? It's like, oh, damn, I'm here. I'm the champ, right? So that just comes with maturity. And I encourage young men everywhere to kind of get into that positive self-awareness, realize that you're mature. Everything doesn't deserve an answer. It does not deserve a response. And damn, what did someone said it in a song? I'm the big homie. Don't be trying to lil bro me. That was like, to me, that was like mind boggling. Sometimes you just got to realize when you the big homie. All right.
Hey, Trigger Mike, I think I found it interesting what you said. You said that some people can trick you into thinking they're on your level. And I think that's a lot. That's a lot of what's going on social media right now. How many people go at celebrities and things like that just because they have access to them? And you know what I mean? Sometimes, Kevin Durant is a prime example of that. Like, there's a lot. He give a lot of people a lot of power in his space.
Yep.
Because there's no reason why he should be responding to at least to 99.9% of the stuff that goes on Twitter right now.
Why shouldn't he respond if he feels like responding?
I mean, because I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary for him to have to go at every single person that may have something negative to say about him. You know what I mean? That's one of the things you have to expect in a space where you're in the public, is that, hey, some people may say some things you don't like, and I think you give a lot of people energy when you respond to people that don't mean shit, at least in your real life.
Well, from what I've heard, he enjoys the banter. He enjoys being able to connect with people on that particular level. I haven't seen it necessarily. Maybe you have seen it take away from what he does on the court. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you could probably even say the same thing about Michael Jordan, right? Because Michael Jordan, he took everything offensively. If somebody brought him his pizza wrong, like he's upset. You know what I'm saying? So, not just if you're going to talk about Kevin Durant, then we got to speak about others as well. I'm just saying that if he wants to, I think it should be also have the liberty to do so. Now, if it gets him off his game, then I think that's different, right? Then that's when I can see what you're saying. But as opposed as Kevin Durant wants to talk to people that you would consider lower than him, because he's a person. You know what I'm saying? He's not bigger than me. He just known more than I am. He's just a person, right? So I think that's what we got to kind of get out of, that thinking that just because somebody's famous, that they're more than us.
All right. Clout. When you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego. What are your thoughts about it?
I definitely agree with that statement of, when you're self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego. And when the most immediate scenario that comes to my mind when I think of that, it might be a pretty crude scenario, but I always think of like somebody in the streets, right? Like, I think of the guy who, like, know he got some shit with him, whether he has a weapon on him, or knows, like, let's say he's a boxer, he got hands trained to kill. And it's like somebody comes up to him trying to test him. Oh, you pussy, you this and that and that. It's like, if you know the type of damage you can do, you really got nothing to prove to somebody trying to antagonize you or trying to get you out of your frame, because you know what you can do. And the moment that you actually try to prove, feed into their ego, or try to prove to them what you can do, is actually the moment you make yourself vulnerable and put yourself in an opportunity to go to jail, put yourself in an opportunity to get hurt, get jumped. Somebody might shoot you. Like, you don't know what situation you're putting yourself in. So as a man, I think it's definitely valuable to have the self-awareness to be like, you know what, I know what I can do, but I get to decide what I'm going to do, because I know what I can do. And I'm not going to let somebody else decide what that is by making me try to prove myself to them.
All right. Shannon Rawls, you there? Shannon Rawls. All right, go ahead, Eric. Did you want to? I know you was cutting out last time. There's something else you wanted to add.
Yeah, is it good now? We good now?
Yeah, the audio is good, but the mouth is not syncing with the words, but we'll take it. Go ahead.
No, what I was saying was, we need to understand what ego really is. I think the word ego has been defined by so many things and so many people that we don't even understand what the word really means. Over time, ego has been given such a negative connotation because we've been talking about ego death, killing the ego. Is something that we shouldn't even deal with, right? And we should be so humble that we're out of it. So I do understand some of the things that some of the brothers are saying. But the question was talking about proving something to someone else's ego. So I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody else's self-esteem. I'm not trying to come at like who they are. I may debate you, but that debate has nothing to do with the ego. So, when it comes to the context of the question, if I'm self-aware, I'm aware of my ego, right? And I don't have to prove that to anybody. How I move shows you. How I speak to you how I speak to you shows you. So I don't need to ever do that to anyone. And then when it comes to business, yeah, that makes sense. But that wasn't the question.
All right, Shannon Ross. Go ahead, Bruce. You want to say something?
I was gonna say I think everybody was pretty clear and understanding of what ego mean in regards to the topic. I think what can actually be challenged in the topic is whether or not, how do you know when you're self-aware or not? Because from my understanding, all humans are self-aware. You get what I'm saying? Everybody's self-aware. Like I don't know where there's if somebody can explain me a scenario or an example where you're not self-aware. That's if I was to challenge this topic on the context behind it, that's what I would challenge. I wouldn't so much challenge the part about ego. Because even artificial intelligence, I mean, like if you watch Terminator, shit, the machines became self-aware. I mean, they were able to think for themselves. I mean, they were able to evolve in the way they would operate and move. But as far as humans, we are already capable of doing that from birth. So saying when you're self-aware, I think that could be challenged regarding the topic.
I'll challenge you to say that, yeah, I guess to an extent, everyone is somewhat self-aware or can be. But I think this ego thing speaks more to people's ability to overestimate their self-awareness. All right. So we see it a lot in this space, in people interacting with each other over contentious topics. You go at someone, you put on the boxing gloves, you get in the ring, but you're not ready to box. That person eat your ass up on the panel. That's somebody overestimating their self-awareness. I see it every day. I'm just saying.
That sounds like somebody's overestimating their ability to be a competitor and step up to a challenge. But as far as being you're still self-aware. You're just overestimating your ability. Like I don't know if any of y'all play sports. Some guys will walk in the gym and they'll see the other team come in and they'll see how little the opponent is, and they can underestimate the opponent based on its size. I think that's an underestimating. It's not that you're not self-aware. It's that you're I wouldn't say overly confident. I would just say you don't understand that your skill and your ability might not be on the same level as your opponent.
Yeah, but Bruce's self-aware is also studying, watching film, paying attention. You know, I'm not going to go in there blind and just hope and expect, pray and expect for the best. I'm going to prepare myself.
Well, that's just called being prepared.
So I think Bruiser is right to an extent, where he said that he believes that everybody is self-aware. I think that's the reason why I use the word self-actualization rather than self-awareness. Because what self-actualization means is the realization or fulfillment of one's talents and potentialities. And I think that's what he's referring to when he's saying that everybody knows that they are who they are. You know what I mean? But to honestly know who you are in regards to your own potential, your own talent, and being able to go into an arena and go at somebody else is the difference.
You know what? That's a good. So I'm trying to put it into words because I'm trying to help myself understand it. To an extent, everybody is aware that they are who they are, but has the potential to overestimate themselves about who they're up against. Right. So I think one of the most in recent history, one of the most famous coaching lines is a coach getting up there after a badass whipping. What was it? The Browns saying they are who we thought they were.
Hey, get up off my pairs. Get up off my pairs. Hey.
They are who we thought they were. Right? We went out there, we said all the cheers, we got pumped up, and they whooped our ass.
Gave them
right?
that goodness.
That was Dennis Green with the Cardinals.
With the Arizona
that was
Cardinals.
Dennis Green with the Cardinals. Yeah.
Greatest comeback ever.
Yeah, that was so funny. But yeah, when you up against something, yeah, you could boost your chest up and you can say, I'm gonna do this. And you know what? Sometimes self-awareness lets you know, hey, I'm gonna fight, right? Because that's gangster. I'm just gonna fight. I may not win, but so that's true. I think that's maybe the divide we're missing. We got to bridge that gap real quick because, yeah, to an extent, everybody is self-aware. But I believe that we live in a time now of severe egotism and narcissistic behavior. So those are things that can impede your self-awareness, right? Now I'm on like 37 different streams looking at people asking if women should be in male spaces. We can say that some women that come into male spaces or whatever they call it, manosphere or whatever, they are not self-aware about where they're at. They get too comfortable. They get narcissistic. Their ego starts to get blown up. Maybe they won a few, they jabbed a few times and nobody corrected them. And then we watch their behavior get out of line. So I think that's one way we can absolutely say narcissism can impede your ability to be self-aware.
It's interesting that even became a conversation. I didn't think that was going to go that far.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I'm going there, bro.
Trigger Mike.
Catch the Trigger Mike show every morning. Never.
But it seems like some of the stuff could easily be related to situational awareness, more so self-aware.
Yeah.
I could if someone would said that, I would have been like, I agree. Situational awareness.
You think most people are situationally aware?
I believe so.
I would say most people are situationally unaware.
Well, then that means that they're not self-aware.
They can be self-aware and still unaware of the situation around them. Situation is related to your surroundings, the environment you come into. Like Trigger Mike said, if a woman come on a panel on Lapeef Let's Talk, and she ain't never watched previous episodes of Lapeef Let's Talk, and know that, hey, look, you push back, you better be able to substantiate what you're saying. You don't understand the situation you're getting into.
That's me.
The environment is different in Sundays.
Well, yeah, humble that. I think most people are situationally aware. There's a reason why.
I think y'all giving credit. Y'all giving credit to people. Maybe it's just me, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sweeney. I'll follow after you. I apologize.
I was gonna say, because if you think about it, if you look at people as a whole, do most people find themselves in jacked up situations where they weren't aware of their surroundings? No. We see people who get into it, but as a group, as a whole, I don't see too many people find it. Like if just look at this platform so to speak. I'm sure, like myself, I've tried my damnedest to get people to like come on and do podcasts and stuff, and most people are like, nah, I ain't getting on there. I can't, you know what I mean? I'm about to get in front of that camera and say something wild. Like, and that was majority of the people I encountered. Only the people who were crazy enough, if not bold enough to do it, were the ones that was able to come on camera and do it. Even when you look at, like, so I think most people are like, they aware of their situation, they're aware of their limitations, and they tend to sit back in that.
And that's why I would disagree, because everybody has the potential to do something of greatness, because it's a matter of practice, right? So as a former educator, if I told my students, based on your last year's scores, I can see y'all probably not going to do that well this year, then that means that what am I even here to teach for, right? I have to see that these students are capable of achieving what it is that I've set the bar at. So there is a self-awareness. Y'all speaking of a self-awareness that most people have. And I'm saying that I don't think most people do, because if most people were self-aware, then they know that they can achieve great things. Most of the people that we encounter are just cool with just doing, it's cool with mediocrity.
That's self-awareness, though. Think about it.
Some people are mediocre.
Right. No. Humble Dad is 100% correct, because look at what he's saying. He's saying that people are mediocre, but pretend that they want advanced circumstances, elite circumstances. That is the exact society we are living in today.
So
I have 3 baby fathers and 4 kids, and I deserve a high value man. That is the most self-unaware statement I've ever heard.
That ain't what he said. He said
called delusion.
No, he said there are people who are okay with being mediocre. That's self-awareness. I'm cool where I'm at.
Oh, that's called laziness.
But what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. Self-awareness, you are able to understand what you're capable of, right?
Some people aren't capable of that much.
Huh? I'm sorry.
There are people out there that aren't capable of much, and they're aware of that.
But that's not true.
Or they could be capable of a lot, and they say, "I don't want to do it."
Right. That's laziness. So self-awareness
still
is
self-aware. It may be lazy. You can
bro.
bro.
Listen what I'm saying. Okay. Most people are mediocre by choice. Okay. Most people have the ability to be a good cook or a great cook. All it takes is effort most of the time, right? I'm just giving an example, right? Everybody can be a great cook. In my estimation, everybody can learn math because that's what I was. I was a math teacher, right? So everybody is capable. It's about, are you going to give that effort to learn the steps it requires to understand understand what problem, how to solve the problem is what I'm saying. But most people are lazy, right? So it's not that they are not self-aware is what I'm saying. I think y'all using the definition.
I would say that I think both can exist at the same time. I think somebody can be self-aware and lazy at the same time. You can be self-aware. You can be self-aware of your situation, but like, I don't want to do it, and that you can still be lazy. I don't think the antonym to self-awareness is laziness.
Or true.
Or
it's called complacency.
Okay.
I'm not saying that people should be
lazy. A person can be lazy by choice.
That means that they are suppressing what it is that they're self-aware that they could do.
Yeah, like, but they're self-aware of it.
No, or they're making a completely self-aware decision. They're saying, I have the decision to be, not lazy right now and have the decision to be lazy. Right now, I'm going to decide to be lazy. I know I'm being lazy and I'm okay with that. That's self-awareness.
I'm going to just be mature and I'm going to just say, okay.
So look, I got pushback for whoever said everybody's situationally aware. I don't believe that. Only way to be situationally aware, you have to have some foreknown knowledge of the situation that you're getting into or witness some type of experience related to the situation that you're in. You can go in the military. You could take 100% of everybody, every soul in United States soil and put them in a uniform. There's no way they're going to be situationally aware until they get trained. So that's called foreknowledge.
All right, let's get Sir Hill. We got Shan and Sir Hill that haven't said anything on the topic just yet. Seems like Shan was fixing a shitty situation. Welcome back, bro.
Did Lewis say
Mic check 1 2? Mic check 1 2?
Yeah,
can y'all hear me? Oh, okay.
Oh, Luis.
I'm not really sure where to jump in. Sorry, I'm tardy. Trigger Mike got the big mic on tonight. As soon as he speaks, everybody gets drowned out. He got the gain all the way up. Situation. You guys are talking about situational awareness and self-awareness. Situational awareness, as I don't know how many brothers in here has been in the military. That's the conscious knowledge of knowing what's going on around you and where you're at. Right? You have to be taught that. Most people aren't situationally aware. In a restaurant, when I was deployed to Mogadishu, and we had, like I mentioned to you guys before, when I was part of Black Hawk Down, for those that seen the movie, you don't know what's going on until it happens. And you typically do a cordon and search, or you send somebody out to come back and tell everybody what's going on. But just to be self-aware, you'd almost have to be a fucking genie or some kind of swami, or figure out what's going on, have some sort of foresight. Rarely are most average people situationally aware of their surroundings. That's why, I mean, hell, that's how a lot of people get caught slacking in school shootings, and police officers get ambushed by somebody that's in the car. You do your best to try to prevent that, but just generally speaking, most people aren't situationally aware.
But I think
self-awareness, huh?
I was gonna say, but I think a school shooting isn't something that's natural to somebody's environment. Like people don't go to school every single day, but like, man, it might be a school shooting today. I got to be aware of that. Like that's not a thing that's normal.
I got you, Sweeney. Yeah, I know, but that's my point. The whole thing is, despite the amount of school shootings that we have, and teachers are going to school every day, you never know exactly what's going to happen. And even when it happens, you're not really sure what the fuck to do. 9/11, people, right now, everybody, there's people in downtown, they got parachutes in their buildings. So like over at the Bonaventure Hotel, at a lot of the skyrise buildings. Ever since 9/11, there's been a lot of people that's anything above 10 floors. They got parachutes under their office desk in case something happens. You want to be prepared for what's going to happen, but you can never really be fully prepared. And being situationally aware is knowing where you are and what's going on. The part that is the problem is a lot of people don't know what's going on despite where they are.
I think
so that's what I'm saying on that. I know you want to push back, Sweeney, because you've been pushing back all night. Let me finish.
Go ahead, bro.
Then there's self-awareness, right? So self-awareness, that's knowing your own character and how you feel and what you're capable of and and your motives and where you want to go. I'm sorry, I don't know who's with or without Humble Dad, but most people are not self-aware. When you ask women, rate yourself from 1 to 10, fresh face out the shower, no makeup on. They're all 10s. They really believe that.
No, they don't.
Yes. They really believe that. Now, they know
don't.
better. They know better. But a lot of people think that they're more capable than they actually are.
No.
A lot of people, everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody thinks that they have the strength to do what's necessary to be a successful entrepreneur. Everybody thinks that they are wonderful drivers, and if anything was to bolt out in front of them, they'd be able to handle it and swerve the car. It's all good. I got it under control. That's why I can tailgate and I ain't gonna get in no accident. A lot of people that smoke and drink think they can hold their liquor. A lot of people think that they are capable of doing things that they just can't do until they get tested, and then they fail, and they're like, "Damn, I didn't know it was that hard."
That's called verbal confidence, Shannon. Those people who they say that, hey, look, man, if something happened, I got you. But deep down inside, motherfuckers know that they ain't got you.
See, that's the thing about it, Bruiser, because if deep down inside, they would never try. But a lot of people do try and still fail.
Yeah, but the verbal
they
confidence
they couldn't do certain things. And we could play with semantics, because that's what I'm hearing a lot. Everybody's like, no, that's this, that's that. No, we talk about self-awareness, right? Most people think that they can do things that they absolutely cannot do. A lot of people think they can shoot a gun until you take them to target practice and they miss the whole damn target. They think it's easy. A lot of people think that they can do things that they simply can't. A lot of people think that they can ride a skateboard. I remember when the hoverboard came out, everybody thought they can ride them until they busted their head open, and they had to put laws in because the ERs is filling up with people cracking their skull open. A lot of people think that they can do stuff that they can't do.
But Shannon, when we're this detailed, I think it's acceptable, and I think it's okay to be with semantics. When you this precise and detailed when you're talking about it, I think it's okay to be play with semantics, because one could argue that you may be talking about instant or immediate self-awareness,
not instant,
because we do know with self-awareness, you still reserve the ability to grow, being self-aware, to being able to evolve. That still takes place when you're self-aware. Being self-aware doesn't mean that you're at a constant state. There's a level there is a level of progression from being human beings that are self-aware. It's called evolution. If I know, I could have a delusion saying that, okay, look, I could dunk a basketball, knowing I can't fucking dunk a basketball. I go up there and try to, I get hung on the rim, I fall on my back. But that doesn't mean I'm not capable of dunking a basketball if I go and actually get the training.
How would you know? Listen to me. A lot of people think they can jump higher than they actually can until they try it. Then they realize, then they become aware that they can't do certain things. Yeah, it's not until they try and fail. Bruiser, it's not until they try and fail and realize, okay, thank you for the knowledge that I didn't have before. Now I'm aware that I can't do what I thought I can do.
Do you think that most people don't understand their limitations? I think most people understand their limitations. That's why they don't go out and try it. You don't see.
No. I think so what you're saying, Sweeney, usually you understand your limitation for things that may be fatal, let's say, right? But just like Shan said, I can hold my liquor. How many times we heard that? So I'll tell you a quick story about how us as young men overestimate our limitations. I went up to this young girl named Brittany. I was 16, 17 years old. I said, give me a shot at that ass. I'm going to blow that back out. I said it just like that. Okay? First time. I ain't never did nothing in my whole life. 2 pumps in, I ain't know what was going on. I was like, my back was weak. I overestimated my capability of doing stuff, okay? And young men do that every day.
I think people have pockets where they
How many pumps did
overestimate
you
their
estimate?
If you don't mind, let me jump in and chime in on this one. So I think we lie to ourselves. That we live in a culture where it starts off with motivation and positive thinking, and that has morphed into straight out we just lie to ourselves. And there's a difference between being positive and optimistic and seeing the bright side and seeing the cup half full. But we're way past that in this culture. Everybody is lying to themselves. Every dude is that dude. Every dude can get any woman he wants. Every woman is beautiful. Every woman is that girl. You know, we just lie to ourselves. And so it's impossible to really be self-aware if we live in a constant state where we're lying to ourselves. And that's just what it is. A lot of us don't believe that we're overweight, so we keep on buying different clothes. We suck in our stomachs when we taking pictures, right? Because we live in this society where it's so easy to put a filter on, to take a nice picture, to take a picture in front of a car, to act like we got the nice house. So everything around us caters to us lying to ourselves. You'll notice people who are self-aware do a lot of reading. They have a priority with their health. They have discipline in their life. That if you really want to know if somebody's self-aware, look and see if they're disciplined or not. And at 9 times out of 10, if that person has no discipline, they eat anything, always eating double cheeseburgers, always eating potato chips, always, drinking, they always in and out of relationships, that person is not self-aware, because nobody who's self-aware does things intentionally that's bad for them. So you can boil all this down. Look at a person's discipline. If they're not disciplined in any area of their life, chances are they probably are not self-aware, and they got people in their corner, like for the ladies, girl, you fine, girl, you thick, you're gonna find somebody, you're gonna get you a man, girl. I promise you, God got somebody for you, girl. Lady, he's not on the way. She lied to you. She ain't talked to Jesus, right? No man is on the way. She's lying to you, and the woman's lying to you. She's not self-aware either, because if she was, she would tell you need to get into the gym, stop lying to yourself, heal from your trauma. We live in a society where we lie to ourselves, and that's why we're not self-aware.
That's exactly what I said. It's exactly what
and
I
said. Bruiser know that, because I was watching Bruiser on Instagram. Bruiser got some cold ass. If you guys haven't seen Bruiser's clips, he puts on Instagram. Them shit is beautifully shot. The information, the audio sounds good. They're cold-blooded.
You're right. The brutal truth. The brutal truth.
And that's what's making people popular, because the pushback now is people are telling people you are not self-aware. Let me tell you about yourself, because nobody apparently has told you this. And when I go listen to Bruiser, he's telling them about themselves, and they don't like to hear what he's saying.
That's the whole thing. Go ahead, my bad, Shane. I didn't need to cut you off.
Go ahead. I'm good. I'm on mute.
I was just saying that's the whole reason why Kevin Samuels was able to even get as popular as he was, because women in that beginning, it was men, right? They were not self-aware. He became a millionaire letting people know that they were not self-aware. And so I think for the younger, I guess, I don't know if it's a maturing thing, but for people to think that most people are self-aware, that's crazy, because you would see a different world. Like what I was gonna say, what Sir Hell was saying. A person that's self-aware knows that they got to keep learning. A person that's self-aware knows that they are not. They got to continue to improve themselves on the areas of where they're weak, because they understand that's where it's missing something, right? And that's why I was telling you before that most people are lazy, and most people, I know I'm taking the flip side of what Shannon is saying. I'm saying that most people do not try to even reach their potential. So I'll give you an example. I taught at the college. In every school semester, I would ask people what was their thought process on math, and 80% of them would say it's hard and I don't know how to do it. 80% of my students, right? Well, by the end of the semester, I had showed them a method and showed them how to overcome what it is that they thought was difficult, which most of the times it was them practicing and me kind of giving them a different way of thinking about math. And then they was able to be successful. Why? One, because I taught it well. Secondly, because they put forth the effort in order to pass, right? So that's what I'm saying, that most people are lazy. I mean, think about how many people even graduate from college. Should everybody go? No. All you have to do in college is be there, be focused, pay attention, do your work. You pass, you'll get a degree. Right?
Let me ask you a question, Humble Dad. So when they said that math was hard, that did it mean that the work wasn't hard, or was it that you allowed them to practice? Because that's the difference. If you came to me and asked me, hey, look, building a house. If you came and like, I guarantee you, if I asked you, what do you think about cutting hair? And you would probably be like, it's pretty hard.
I wouldn't say that.
But I can tell you that with practice, you can become great at cutting hair. But that doesn't mean that it's any less hard. Because if it was easy to cut hair, everybody will be able to do it.
It's going to take you to teach. It's going to take you, Sweeney, to make me aware of it, though.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
just
saying.
Like it's going to take Humble Dad to make them aware that they can do the math that they thought that they couldn't do.
That means that they're not self-aware, that they can accomplish something.
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying that they couldn't accomplish it. I'm saying it's still hard. Then just because you put in the work to do it,
though, Sweeney, we're not talking about if it's hard. We're talking about, are people self-aware?
Right. No, I'm just going off of the example that you provided when you said that when you asked them, "What's your idea on doing math?" and they told you it's hard, and then you were like, "Okay." So you worked with them, you practiced with them, they did the work or whatever. And by the time they came out of it, they were good at it, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't hard.
Yeah, I think you took the wrong part of what I'm communicating, right? And that's okay. I'll explain. What I'm saying is that, yes, it's hard, but just because something's hard, as you said, right, doesn't mean it can't be accomplished. Self-aware would let you know that just because something is hard doesn't mean I can't achieve it.
No, right? I agree with you.
So then you're taking a piece of what I'm saying to try to make what you're saying correct.
No, that's not what I'm doing at all.
Okay, well, then help me out.
Honestly, I think if somebody doesn't want to do something, they don't have to do it. Whether it's hard, easy, soft. If I don't, say for instance, if I came to you and say you need to learn how to cut hair, you'll be like, well, I don't really need to learn how to cut hair. I don't want to put the effort into cutting hair. Why? Because I got somebody that can do my beard for me. It doesn't matter how much I can sit here and try to convince you that, hey, look, every man should know how to cut their own hair. That don't mean that you have to learn how to do it. And
maybe I'm asking wrong. Let me ask a different question. I apologize for hogging the mic, but let me try to make sure I understand what you're saying. What is your definition of self-aware?
I think someone who's aware of I'm going off of the honest definition, the consciousness, knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. That's the definition of self-awareness. So you can be conscious of some things you don't want to do. You can be conscious of things you want to do. You can be conscious of your limitations. You can be conscious of your ability to do whatever you want to do. I think anybody that can make the conscientious decision to sit down, that's why I said I don't think the opposite of self-awareness is laziness. I think somebody is very self-aware if they come to you and say, hey, bro, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down and eat this ham sandwich because I don't feel like going to the gym. They're pretty self-aware. They just lazy.
I think that's
complacent is more like it.
Yeah, I think what we missing it at is a lot of people judge it as hard before they even try, right? And I think that's the whole point. Like people say, "Dang, I hate math." Well, it's so hard. Well, how do you know it's hard? You've never really taken time to study on a consistent basis. Like you haven't sat there and tested your limits. And I think that's the whole point here, is a lot of people are saying something that's difficult or it's hard or even I don't like this. And part of it is two things. Part of it is because of their own perceived limitation. And then the other part is because you hear so many people saying math is hard. So you combine those two together. And I think people are saying something without applying themselves to give themselves an accurate assessment as to whether or not it's hard or not. I think that's the point that's being made.
I was going to say, and I don't think they have to. I don't think you have to try something just to find out if you don't want to do it or not.
But that goes into being self-aware, though. That's the point. Like knowing that trying it, knowing your limitations, that goes into self-awareness. Otherwise, it just gets work. You don't know what you're capable of because you haven't tried.
Well, that goes with. I'm gonna let y'all have it. It is what it is. I'm sure JR came about to change the topic.
Well, I'm going to get Luis in there. Luis, did you get a chance to speak on it?
No, he said all of his dark skins just left him out in the corner.
And damn right.
Go ahead and answer question real quick. I got it right here for you. When you're
So
self-aware, you don't have to prove anything to someone else's ego.
yeah, I'm gonna take a couple approaches. So the first one I'm gonna say is to kind of quote Jay-Z. Never argue with fools because from a distance you can't tell who is who, right? That's one of the lines that he said, and I think that comes out
Mark
of
Twain, but
was it?
That was Mark Twain. Yeah, it was Mark Twain that said that, but Jay-Z threw it in a rap. Go ahead though.
Don't kill my momentum, Shane. No, he said that, and I think that came from a moment of self-growth. But I think that before that, he kind of understood that, like, he led with his ego, and people tend to kind of lead with their ego as a false sense of confidence. I think that false sense of confidence is what people tend to kind of tap into, and that's where we kind of tend to coin the phrase in our culture today is "fake it till you make it," lie. Give the facade and the appear that you have arrived and that you have done it. Not understanding that you haven't reflected within and understand that you haven't done the work to be where you need to be, right? That lack of self-awareness, and to kind of to Sir Hale's point, in terms of like the whole math situation, the reason people feel that they can't do something is because they've allowed themselves to be infiltrated by others' opinion who do not align with theirs. Or don't go into engineering, it's too hard. Oh man, the math is too much. But that's them. You haven't even given an effort. You haven't even tried, but you allowed or have allowed themselves to be infiltrated by others in. Allow them type of insecurity and unfulfillment onto them because they haven't chosen to tap in to be great and to do better by themselves, right? And no moment of self-reflection, when there is no moment of self-reflection, you stop growing. Like Humble Dad said it really best. People kind of just stay stagnant. They understand that they're pretty aware of their situation. It's just that they elect to do nothing about it. And they're sometimes okay with not doing anything about it. Right? And sort of that kind of goes from that juxtaposition from the ego to what I'm going to bring up is the super ego. Is the ethical component of the personality that provides moral standards in which the ego operates from. And until people start to kind of realize that growth between that ego and tapping into what I say is the super ego, people will still always be in this perpetual what if I can't do it, because they lack that self-motivation and that self-awareness of looking themselves within.
Hey, it's funny that you said that, Luis, because I was that person. I wanted to go into civil engineering, and then my my advisor told me, she was like, you might as well double major in math. I said, no, I'm not doing that.
But you want to know what's so crazy? You want to know something so crazy? I didn't take no fucking AP courses in high school. No AP courses. And I went and I got a back.
Oh
shit. I took no AP courses in high school, and I went on to college to get a bachelor's in architectural building and engineering. I took all the engineering and math courses. Never took any of those classes to prepare me for college. But you know what? In college, I aced them all. Even the advanced engineering courses. Reinforced structural, concrete, steel. All of them. Aced them all. I was naturally good at math, and I was naturally good at applying myself. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. Yeah,
like, so people cut themselves short because they haven't faced or had the opportunity to face themselves or face that challenge.
I was gonna say in my situation, it wasn't that I didn't believe I couldn't do it. I just didn't want to. When she said you might as well double major in math, I'm like, I don't want to double major in math. I don't want to take that many math classes. That's when I realized.
Why not?
I just didn't want to.
Why not?
Because I didn't want to.
Uh-oh.
It was as simple as that. Like, I gotta take a bunch of math, and I like math. Don't like math that much.
But being self-aware is conscientious of people's motivations and desires. So
I wanted to be an architect, but I realized I wanted to draw buildings more than I actually wanted to do the math of, designing buildings. That's like, I like the artistic side of it more than I like the actual scientific side of it. So when I realized, when she told me you need to take a lot of math classes, I'm like, oh, I didn't think that this would. Well, actually, I settled on civil engineering because I wanted to originally be an architect. The only school that that had an architecture program in my state was Ball State University. I didn't get into that. So when I went to this other school, I was like, I guess civil engineering and architecture kind of flow in the same realm. So I guess I'll do civil engineering. Well, after you get done with your first semester of classes, I went back to my advisor. She was like, all right, so here's the thing. Here's all the classes that you have to take for the next 4 years. And then she was like, and I looked at all the math classes. She was like, yeah, you might as well go ahead and double major in math because you're going to take all the classes that the math students were going to take. I had to take them too. And I realized, like, I don't want to take that many math classes because I didn't care about that aspect of it. I just wanted to design buildings. You know what I mean? I wanted to design houses because that's what I always did. I used to, when I was in high school, we used this program called Revit, and I loved it. And then also I used to play The Sims a lot. And the only thing I used to ever do on The Sims was make houses, build houses. So once I realized that, hey, look, the math part of it ain't for me, I had to switch, you know what I mean? I had to pivot because it wasn't for me. I'm sure I wouldn't have had no problem, but
I kind of really wish people will stop selling people this idea. Look, I'm in the profession of architecture, and I've been in it now for about 12 years, and I've been on both sides of the fence. I wish people would stop telling young people that they can't do it or they shouldn't do it because of math. The math is only a small problem. I don't sit around all day and do math problems. You know what I'm saying? On my side. Do I do some calculations? Yes. But that's like those are small things. And they already are systems set up to aid you to succeed, right? You're not doing things longhand like you're in a classroom, right? So I kind of wish people stop doing that because it's prohibiting people from entering programs like STEM in engineering and mathematics, right? Because they're projecting so much onto people that you can't do it. It's too hard. That's bullshit.
I don't think that she was telling me that it was too hard. I think she was just telling me what my situation was. Like I said, it wasn't the fact. Like, I agree with you. It's probably not a lot of math in architecture or civil engineering, which I'm quite sure there's enough math in there. I think the idea that I had to take so many math classes, I didn't want to do that. So now I wound up getting my degree in STEM anyway. I got it in computer information and technology, but at that moment, like, I was like, I wasn't for me.
If you guys just tuning in, welcome to King Talk. If you guys haven't already hit the like button, we got 186 likes right now. So if you haven't hit the like button, that's all we're asking for, just to do that. We do have a new member. Peter Investor became a member working the Green Gang. If you want to become a member of that link is pinned to the top of the chat. Marcus Evans, $2 says, hello, my brothers. Fist pump up, all star panel. Salute to you, sir. Advanced Perception, $2 says, the autonomy to self-awareness is ignorance. Spencer Campbell, $10 says, King Talk salute. I want to thank you guys that have super chatted. Appreciate that. Much love. Let's go ahead and transition to this next topic. But before we do, again, hit the like button. We at 203. I see it's climbing. Let's try to get it up to 400. That's the goal, 400 likes. I do want to get some of the men that haven't spoke as much, like the Sir Hale, Eric, Clout, Hink, and then I'm going to bring Bruiser back up. I'm going to swap out. But let's try to get those guys in first. Trigger might just make sure to flow when I drop down for me if you can. The next topic of the night, the leader of the household. I have to be of service to my wife. The leader of the household. I have to be of service to my wife. I'm going to play this clip.
Feel though, as the man, I am the leader of my household. Right? But as the leader, that doesn't mean that I just tell everybody what to do. My first responsibility as the leader is to make sure everyone is okay. Right? So I have to be of service to my wife. You see what I'm saying? When you say things like that, I have to be of service to my wife, the trigger word for people is like, oh, he wants to serve his wife, he's a simp. And then you have all the detractors who call you a simp because you, as a leader, want to serve your wife, right? Then there's a woman, if she says, no, I want to serve my husband, they tell her she's submissive, and you're setting women back. In our relationship, and it only works in ours because we've agreed to these power dynamics, I'm the man, I'm the head of the household, I lead. We both make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I pay all the bills in the house.
Subtle flex.
Right? It's subtle flex. But because I did make a post. I said, I realized the greatest flex I could ever have is when my wife is kept, but she keeps making money. You see what I'm saying? As the leader, when we both make money, I take care of the family, I take care of our wealth planning, I take care of our legacy building. Whatever money she makes is hers. She can do whatever she wants to do with it. So is she really being submissive and being controlled? No, because she has the opportunity if she wants to go somewhere else. But me being a leader and being in that position of power is giving her an opportunity to live in a life in a world with full autonomy.
Right.
She don't have to depend on anybody else, not even me,
or desire anything from somebody.
So when she don't gotta live like that and she can just do whatever she wants, but she still wants to be my wife, that makes me feel good.
Yeah. All right, there you go. There you go. The leader of the household. I have to be of service to my wife. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Hink first, and let's go to Sir Hale, and then get to the rest of the guys that haven't spoke so much.
They just give anybody a microphone these days, don't they? God damn.
Well, let me say that I don't know, man. I was kind of confused by that video. I mean, some of the things I can agree with him on, and some I just can't. So, by the part about serving his wife, I could agree with that. You not only serve your wife, you serve your whole family. And I want her to we talked about this on Lapeef Sunday last week, talking about women competing for a man. And I talked about your wife needs to compete for you. And part of her competing is see who's outserved each other. So to me, I can agree with that part about serving my wife and my wife serving me and us serving our kids. So I can agree with that part. Now, this part about her money, she can do what she wants. I don't agree with that. I buy into the one pot theory. So yeah, I can't agree with that part of what he was talking about. But the other part about serving, yes, I definitely agree with that. So as a leader of the household, I do have to serve my wife in many ways. And some, so many ways you don't even realize you're doing it. By whether it's you leading her and guiding her and making her self-aware about certain things in certain situations. So if we go to a club out of town and somebody has something crazy to say, or try to push up on her, and I let her know, hey, don't even respond. And we out our area code. It's 4 a.m. It's one of me. It's not smart for me to try to go up and knuckle up with these dudes. It's not going to be a good situation. So I got to be self-aware. I can't allow her to be that person to try to put a battery back like Jada Pinkett Smith and try to get me to go into her and get to some type of altercation. That's not a smart move. So as a leader, I got to make sure she's aware and safe at all times. So that's my answer.
All right, let's get Sir Hale in there.
So I want to start off by saying this. I believe that in today's world, we are afraid to actually talk about what a wife is. I think we have to be politically correct. We have to appeal to our audience. And so saying things, he wasn't wrong about serving. I'll start by saying that. A leader is to provide leadership level service. That's your job. You're covering, your job is to do that. But I think we forget that a wife's role is to be a help to her husband. This is what I find interesting. When we say a man is to serve, it's just applause, it's just magical beauty, right? It's no questions asked, he's supposed to. And then it's always a little bit of contention when we say a woman is to serve, because now she's oppressed. I think the issue here is we're afraid to say that a woman's job, I'm going to say this and I'm going to sound very old school, a woman's job is to serve her husband. That is what a wife is. A lot of people love to go to the Bible and talk about, in the beginning, if you look at this, nowhere in there was it Adam was the helpmeet to Eve. Actually, Adam was so busy working and taking care of business that he needed some help. The whole purpose of a wife even being created was to provide a level of assistance and help to that man. So while he's saying what he said has some merit to it, the truth is a wife's core job is to be of service to her husband. So I want to make sure that that's clear, because I think when we hear things like this, it goes back to, I'm appealing to my audience. I'm going to say these right words. He's a real man. I want my man to be this way. And I just wonder, if people are as okay with ingesting and accepting the fact that what he said is actually the definition of what a wife is supposed to be to a husband.
All right. You know what? I'm so heated by what I heard. I'm gonna have to sneak in here real quick. I'm gonna have to, okay, because we got to be careful, man. The narrative that is to be understood from this millennial Gen Z radical feminist era, you have to be careful how you phrase things to women, in regards to women. You have to be careful. I guarantee you, any woman listening or any woman that's going to hear that soundbite in the future, 95% of them are going to stop listening once they hear men are to serve or men service their wife. They're going to stop listening. They're not going to go any further. They're just going to be like, you heard that? You're supposed to serve. You don't phrase things like that to these women. They're not as mature as we think they are, as we can clearly see in these times these struggling times we have today. Listen, ladies, let me phrase it correctly. Men serve by default. Our entire life is service to an ideal, to a God. If you're religious, our entire life is service, and I can prove it. An unmarried, childless man is far more valuable to society than his feminine counterpart. We can work him, labor in the labor force. We can do all type of things with that unmarried, childless man. We can, because his life is to serve. He can build things. All right. He can do all type of stuff in this society. Now look at the other end, and I don't want to, get into that. But either way, we got to be careful. We really got to be careful with how we phrase things to women. Now, that guy, I don't know if he thought he wasn't simping, but he simped. He simped 100%. All right. Like, he was bordering the line of simp, then he simped. Women need to understand you can never outserve. That's the funniest part about it. You can never outserve a man, ever. Do you understand, like I say this all the time, how idiotic it is for a man to choose service to his family day in and day out? Because one of the things about women in the workforce, like he says, and this is one of the things we have to discuss with women about money, it is extremely rare that throughout the course of a relationship or marriage that a woman can out-earn her husband. He will work extremely close to the day he dies. Extremely close to that date of his death, he will be working. Women don't do that. They cannot match our work ethic. You want more proof? Millions more women are in the workforce in the United States than men are, because we are the more incarcerated group of people. And yet they cannot outwork us in number of total hours worked. Isn't that something? They can't outwork us. Our service to this community and to this world is so great that even though they outnumber us by millions, they cannot put in as much work by the hour as we can. But that's all I got for now. Let's get anybody else in there that want to jump in. Please feel free.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in, man. I definitely think Sir Hale and Trigger Mike, I think that y'all hit it directly on the head. When he first started talking about service, from one perspective, I could kind of understand what he was saying, because again, like Trigger Mike was saying, a man serves by default. But I think where he kind of got it twisted is, for me, I feel as though a man is to serve God or his purpose. Like, that's what a man's job is, to serve. And like Trigger Mike said, he described the wife, because the woman's purpose is to serve her husband. So when I hear him sitting there in front of his wife talking about how much he serves, but not really mentioning how much she serves, and then I hear him talking about like paying all the bills, which is his responsibility, but the way he's saying is like, oh, well, she gets money too, and it's somehow a flex that she's getting money and not contributing to the household. Like, what it really sounds like is like, it don't sound like you're paying all the bills because you're that guy. It sounds like you're paying all the bills because your woman would have it no other way. That's the position she put you in. She put you in the position of, nigga, you're gonna pay these bills, and I'm gonna work and get my own bag, and there's nothing you can do or say about it. And I think it's completely apparent when you hear how he speaks about it, how he references the entire situation. So to me, as soon as he got past a couple sentences, it screamed simping to me. And I think he was self-aware of that, because I think he had to mention simping because he knows that that's what it gives off when he speaks. And so he figured, let me just mention simping in advance so that I could like redirect the conversation away from the fact I'm simping. But it is what it is. He was simping. And you can tell that his wife runs him in his pockets. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
All right. So let me chime in. So as men, it is important to understand each man reserve the right to run his marriage how he see fit. I mean, it's not a one size fit all. You know, how can we expect man to run their household using specific methods or principles or beliefs when we as men are divided? We don't have any standard. So how can we even give any critique when there's nothing we can go to get any guidance? So I praise any man who has control over his marriage, even if it don't necessarily align with how I control my marriage. Because to be honest, we need more men to be married and to be happy in marriages. And if that's his system, then that's just his system. I don't think any man that loves his wife and his family and is actually putting the work in and getting results is a simp. I think you're a king.
I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why.
Somebody go first, because I'm
so
gonna verbally flat Bruiser in a second. Go ahead.
So Bruiser's not entirely wrong, and I understand where he's coming from. But here's the danger. You know that because you have context. Young men who don't have, you say we don't have a standard. So young men who don't have that standard, who don't have a base, but who have been trained to grow up and be a good man to a woman, right? He grows up and he takes what he said and he lives his entire life thinking that he must work, provide, serve, and get nothing in return. And that is the meaning of being a married man. That's the meaning of your purpose. And you see those kind of men live miserably. And then here's what happens. That miserable man gives advice, and we create more miserable men because we didn't teach them what to expect out of their wives. So what you're saying is true if you have context in order to chew the meat and spit out the bones. The issue is so many young men don't have enough life experience to know how to hear that, take that into context. They take it literally, and they orient their entire lives to please a woman who will eventually get tired of him because she has nothing to follow. He's catering and he has submitted himself to her instead of requiring her to do that for him.
But that's not what he said. That's not what he said. He didn't say.
I said, you missed it. I didn't say he said that. I said young men who don't have that standard would interpret that because they don't have context to chew out the meat and spit out the bones.
No, I agree. But what I'm saying is because the conversation is surrounded by what this man, the video that we just watched, and Bruiser was absolutely right. That man's running this house the way he's going to run it. And even if he did come out and give advice, he didn't come out and say a man should serve his wife and get nothing in return. And as a matter of fact, and I think it's a problem for us to look at it that way, considering the fact that there's probably a lot of context, considering the fact that he's on this platform. He's been on this platform for a while now. He's been married for a while. So for us to look at that situation and say that, oh, well, he must be that he's simping, I don't think he's simping to so to speak. I think he's speaking about his personal situation with his wife and how he and his own thoughts and beliefs. Now, granted, I do believe that there was a pocket where he got into where I was like, hold on, bro, where he was like, oh, well, my wife is free to do whatever the heck she want to do. I don't think that he truly believes that in all actuality, because there's definitely a lot of control that he's going to have in his marriage. Like, you ain't going to let your wife just go off and do whatever the hell she want to do.
But wait, it's working for him, Sweeney. In one breath you say it's okay, the next breath you saying,
you can agree with one part of somebody said and not agree with the other part.
But then you said that
not if they contradict each other.
you literally said, well, I think this is what he meant, instead of taking what he said.
Listen, this guy is pandering.
So let me.
Go ahead. My bad, humble dad. Get in there. He
may be pandering. I don't know, right? But a part of what he said is actually true if you're a follower of Christ, right? we are supposed to, like when Adam was in the garden, he was serving the land. When Eve came aboard, she was designed to be his helpmeet, but he also still served her, right? So there's elements of which your wife need you to serve her. And that's the part of what Sir Hale was trying to say, where there's a missing context because of how he is deliberating, and especially how the clip was cut up, right? There are some pieces that are missing. And even to Bruce's point, yes, it's his marriage. However, he is putting it he is putting it on display to say, this is what it works for me. He did say that. Now, this is what works for us. Now, I give him that point. However, he is trying to display what works for him on a particular platform, which would go out to the masses, right? So I'm saying he had an element that was right, which is they supposed to serve each other, right? But he didn't say that element. He said what he could have said, what I would have liked.
He implied that it's not even important.
Correct. He did. Well, so what I would have liked, I'm gonna finish. Give me like 20 seconds. And I think this is what he missed. I serve my wife. She serves me as well. In our relationship, the way that we have put it together, I take care of all of the bills. And so we've made it to where if she has her own money and she can spend it however she decides to do so. Right. So that provides the context of that they both are serving each other. It's just that they have made a point in saying that her money is going to be hers. I disagree with that point because that doesn't make sense because you're trying to build together, and a part of what she is accumulating is supposed to help y'all build together. So that's just my
question is that whose fault is it that the context is missed? Is it their fault? The man who's speaking,
absolutely,
or the people who clipped the video?
No,
and
so it's his fault.
But we don't know that because we don't know. I don't.
No,
I've
let
never,
me explain. Let me
I've
explain
never,
why he's a simp. Let me explain why. I don't like this. And remember, I said in the beginning, you have to be careful how you phrase this stuff to women. Actually, let me just say it like this: he's supposed to be able to love on his wife and say these things. The issue here is not actually him. The issue is that we cannot trust women with this message. We have nothing but examples that the modern woman has failed to internalize the meaning of a man's service, and they cannot understand it without changing. They cannot maintain their own level of service after a man has said that. I'm telling you right now, what he did was put in a ticking time bomb in his marriage. Like, I understand, like, I'm not saying that. My wife listens to their podcast. I've listened to that for years, some of their stuff that she'll forward me. And what he's doing, because he has a show on literally the most radical feminist network in modern times, BET, and it's doing well, and it's named after a woman. He wants more women fans, and what they like to hear is you loving on your wife. But you just set a time bomb off in your own marriage with that type of behavior. It is not him saying it. It's the way his wife will internalize it. This is where women start acting crazy. Have you not seen the correlation between man behaving in a more submissive, lax manner about the way he speaks and the things he lets his wife does, and the announcement of divorce? We see it on Real Housewives. We see it on every single network. This is where trouble starts. And this is actually what it is, because this is something that I encourage every married man to do. I don't care what you do in your own house. You must maintain perceived dominance in your house at all times. Whatever you do, nobody else can think you're doing nothing but being a whole man in that crib. I'm not mentioning my wife's money or how much she make, and my wife make a whole bag. Don't nobody need to know.
Why does a man got to relegate himself to a perception from the outside?
Because it's everything.
He's on a platform.
Because it's everything.
He didn't force himself on the platform. Somebody asked him, and the audience wants to know about his marriage, and he simply
and he shouldn't tell them. He should.
So like, how can we as men should or shouldn't do?
Yeah, but Trigger, is he really telling us? I mean, or is he just doing what he needs to do for his show? He paying it for because he realizes the audience. I'm going to tell him this, but I live something totally different just for cameras and doing what I need to do.
Or he may not do something.
Have y'all watched this show before? Have y'all watched him before? Have y'all watched him before?
No.
Okay. Like
the Ellisons.
Yeah, the Ellisons, right? So what I've seen, what I've I can't remember, but he's on a lot of Tyler Perry movies, if I'm not mistaken. But when I used to watch them, he was very dominant in his relationship, right? He would speak in a way that you knew that he was a man, and she did not necessarily. It wasn't like she was doing whatever she wanted, right? So it's real weird to hear, because like I said, I did watch him. You know what I'm saying? And then what he just said is really kind of contradictory to how he operates on the show. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I can say, leaning towards what Hink is saying, like, is he just doing this as pander? I think Trigger Mike said
he has a show to tell,
because he's like, babe, hey, I want some. We gotta go do this now. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of demeanor that he carried, or he did carry, when I was watching the show.
So now we're talking about speculation.
No, I'm not going by speculation. I'm saying this is what I saw with my own eyes on their particular show, where he was very dominant. Okay. And then when he speaks in this particular platform, he makes it as if he is the leader, but his wife gets to do whatever, right? With her money specifically, right? But
So when you say he is the leader, but his wife gets to do that, but is in the form of negating the previous part of the sentence.
Yeah, I said he said he was a leader. I didn't say that he was.
You said he said he a leader, but his wife get to do what she wants, as if she get to do what she want makes you unbecoming of a leader.
Absolutely.
How?
What job?
Because then she's leading herself.
So Bruiser, what job do you know?
He was, and he ended it with being happy that she stays.
Yeah, but
what kind of stuff is that? You happy that she's sticking around?
He better be lying. You're right.
Yeah,
he better be lying.
Check this out, guys. What job do you know? What CEO do you know that you can get hired and do what you want? Like, that's the problem. I think we've romanticized this idea that I got a wife and she can do whatever she wants. That's not the way that this works. And listen, again, he's not the problem. I want to make this clear. He's not the problem. We just know when these messages go out that people are feeding into this. Young, impressionable girls, young, impressionable men are going to take that soundbite and they're going to go off of that. And it's so much more to get to that point. Like, I don't care if she was with him from day one. You still have to be a wife. That's what you signed up for. And that message has to be communicated. And I think that so many people here, a man leads, a man serves, he pays all the bills, a wife does whatever she wants. And that's not the way that a marriage works. You got to build to get to that point.
So look, it might not be the way the marriage works for you and everybody on this panel, but for him, that's how it worked. And that's my point.
So
what works for one man may not work for the next man.
So Bruiser, we have to
hold on. Let me just
go
say
ahead,
something.
Finish up.
I was in the military. I was a sergeant. I had motherfuckers come to work for me, and I said, "You know what? Y'all do whatever the fuck y'all want." They're only doing whatever they want because I allowed them to. That still means I'm the leader. It still means I'm the leader because I'm the one who lifted the governor's screw. I'm the one who took the locks away.
Let me ask you a question, Mr.
Those locks back on.
Sergeant, who? That's the false equivalence. Yeah, because you had because we had the Uniform Code of Military Justice to snap their ass back in line if they fucking didn't do what you wanted them to do.
So who's to say that he don't
you gave them a long leash? Because you gave you gave your soldiers in your platoon a long leash, does not give them the opportunity to just go, because he was happy. He's happy.
Hold on. So
that that she don't leave with her money. That's what he
part
said.
of the video what part of this video suggests that he doesn't have
a code of conduct that she has to live by?
He said it.
I could tell you what suggests that, but I could tell you what suggests that he doesn't have a code of conduct. And simply, it's all in the language. The language of service is the problem. Like, I've never been in a situation where service goes two ways. But I feel as though because of this world where we try to create this fantasy that men and women are equal, he feels like he has to say he serves his wife and his wife serves him. But service does not go two ways ever. Usually the way service function is provision for service, right? So even if I go to a restaurant, I provide my bread, they provide me with service. I don't serve the restaurant too. That's not how service works. Service goes one way. So just the fact that this guy is trying to convince us that service is a two-way street is showing you that he's giving up his power, because he's the one who's supposed to be served.
But you gave
he's the one who's supposed to be being served. He's not supposed to be serving. He's supposed to be providing, guiding, instructing.
How
That's
do
what
you know
he's supposed to be doing.
How do you know that's not a part of what his service
The
is?
fact that he called what he does service is the problem itself, because that's not what a man does. The man does not
because he
serve.
gave
The
you a
woman
little
serves the
bit.
man. The man serves God. He's not serving his wife. If you serving God, you're not serving your wife. And that's why Adam fucked it up in the first place, because Adam was paying attention to what his wife was telling him. Oh, this fruit is good to eat. So because she said it's good, he was letting her do what he want, walk around the garden all willy-nilly. He said, yeah, let me listen to her and eat the fruit too. And that's why we fell from grace and fell out of paradise. So my whole thing is like, you have to identify that in the language, he's already wrong in the language, in the fact that he's even saying that he should serve his wife. A husband is not a service position. A manager is not a service position. A wife is a service position. So if you are not in a service position, buddy, you're in a provisioning position. What are you talking about service for? That's not your job.
My man, a leader is a service in a service position. As a
leader is a provider, an instructor, not a server.
What service is.
Serves as a leader.
This is why when you go in a restaurant, managers usually are not the one busting down the tables. The managers are instructing and guiding. They don't serve. That's not how service works. Service goes from one person to another. It's
listen
not
to what
reciprocal.
I think. Listen deeper to what Cloud is trying to explain, you guys. I know you guys want to give pushback, but think about what he's saying. Go one surface lower. One surface lower than just the top.
I am though, but I think that the thing
service is not two-way.
But you're comparing a man like the. I think the analogy is not connected, because marriage is not the same, right?
No, it is the same, and that's what I'm saying is the problem. The problem today with marriage is people believe that a husband and wife are equal, but they're not. A husband and wife are not equals, and therefore, no, you don't serve each other.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on, let me just finish.
I was in the middle of
Cloud, you interrupted him, Cloud.
My bad. Go ahead. No, my bad.
I was going to ask you a question. No, you're good. I was going to ask you a question. So, when you're talking about God, are you talking about God in the Bible, right? You're talking about Adam and Eve, right? So, if you go to the New Testament, there's this guy named Jesus, right? Who is God, who came to do what? To serve, not to be served. Matter of fact, he washed the disciples' feet to show what the characteristics of a servant leader is supposed to do, is supposed to be, right? So if you so yes, as a leader, you are supposed to serve, not in the manner of which in the same regard, but there's a need that my wife has that I'm supposed to serve her with. If you're talking about provision, that's a part of service. Okay, if I am supposed to be
misunderstood, because you got to remember, when Jesus did the washing of the feet, he did those with other men, right? So the thing is, the reason why that service was important is because the service was there to show that they were all equals as men. However, his wife is not his equal. So you're not talking about Jesus washing. Jesus wasn't washing a woman's feet. Jesus was washing other men's feet. But notice, when you notice that you see a woman washing Jesus's feet, and even when they were saying, "Yo, don't let her spend her money, all that stuff could go to the poor," Jesus was like, "Nah, let her serve me, let her do what she's doing." There's no example of Jesus washing a woman's feet in the Bible. So people, you're comparing him doing something to show equality amongst his disciples and his brothers to be the same as the relationship between a husband and wife, and they're not the same. Men can be equals. Men can be equals, but men and women are not equals. So that's where we're complaining. We're complaining.
A husband is made to serve. Like, so let's not get it conflated. I know what you're doing is arguing the semantics of it, but what we do,
no, I'm not.
Just hear me out. Just hear me out. A man is made to serve. Like it's what we do. Even though we lead, that's the service we provide, right? That's what we do. Like if we're providing, that's the service we provide for the woman we cover. So a man's job is to serve. It's just
God or our purpose, not a woman.
Hold on a second. So like if we compare what service looks like for a wife and what it looks like for a husband, there's going to be some unique differences because how it looks is very different. But at the core of this, it really is a service.
Actually, man,
but the reason why it looks different is because it's not service.
Just one last thing. Since we're talking about the Bible, the whole goal of Christianity is to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." I just want to make that clear. All right.
Also, we can even go back to I'm gonna address it from 2 points. We can even go back to what you said about the manager at a restaurant. while he may not actually go out there and serve the customer, he's in the service-based business and he sends people out there to serve for him, but they are a representation of him, the manager. So he is still providing a service. It's just that he delegates the services to other people to provide, but he's still providing it, because what happens if service isn't correct? Who are you going to go to at a restaurant? You're going to go straight to the manager. Hold on, wait. And then also, now I'm not big, I don't really read the Bible that much, but I'm sure that Jesus, while we may not have seen instances where Jesus washed women's feet, I'm sure he was of service to women as well.
Where?
I mean, I don't read the Bible, so I wouldn't know, but I'm sure there's plenty of people up here.
Well,
Jesus was in service to God.
You have the
Jesus
woman
was
at
in
the well.
service to his Father. So this is all I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not saying a man is not supposed to serve. I'm just saying what we're conflating.
Look, we taking the Bible out of context. It makes me itch. We're taking it way out. So let me just say this: the whole basis of Christianity, it's called the Bride of Christ. The whole thing is called the Bride of Christ, and the goal of this is to be married back to our Savior because we fell out of grace. His whole mission, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever should believe him shouldn't perish but have everlasting life, was to come, not to come to be served, but to serve. The whole message for him was that he that is to be greatest must be the least, and
He
that
humbled himself.
Service. His service to humanity was to come and die and be the propitiation for our sins. The whole premise of his existence was so he could serve the will of the Father, that benefit.
Exactly.
So he served the Father. Hold on, listen. He served the Father. He provided service to the people, which is why we have union and fellowship with him again, because he came to serve.
I understand your perspective on that.
I'm just saying that if we're going to use the Bible, like, we can't take snippets out of it to make our argument great. If we're going to use this, it's something we got to speak in context so that it makes sense. But the whole premise of husbands is to be a reflection of God. And if we're going to be a reflection of God, he served, and we must as well, especially in our marriages.
I understand your perspective, all that, but you said it yourself. In everything you were just saying now, you said it yourself, that Jesus served the will of God. The reason why he died on the cross was not because he was serving humanity. He died on the cross because that's what his Father instructed him to do, right? So we're conflating service to be this two-way street when it's not. Service goes linearly. God doesn't serve Jesus. Jesus serves God. Jesus doesn't serve us. We serve Jesus. Man doesn't serve woman. Woman serves man. And even the Bible will corroborate that. That's how the covering goes. From God to Christ, Christ to man, man to woman. So when you're covering is not a service. Your covering is not a service. That's your position.
All right.
That is your purpose.
Let me say something.
So for example, if my purpose is to protect, that's not a service. That's what I do. So my wife is supposed to serve me. Let me finish. My wife is supposed to serve me. My wife is supposed to serve me in aiding me to do what that purpose is. So if my purpose is to protect, my wife is supposed to serve me in doing that job that I am doing in service to the Lord.
What happens if your wife gets sick?
All right, now you're talking about taking care of your wife, which obviously you're going to show love and affection, but that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about service.
We're talking about marriage.
All right, last piece on this, then we got to move on.
Let me say something on this, man. What if you not? Are you a Christian, Clark Jones?
Yes.
What do you say to a Christian? I mean, a person that's not a Christian. You can't say nothing to him, right?
What do you mean in terms of what would I say to them?
How he should and how he should and how his semantics should be built around whether he serves or gets served.
I just don't see an example in the real world where service is two-way. That's all I'm saying. Service is usually from one to another, then from one to another. Service isn't a reciprocal back and forth thing, and there's no examples of that in society where service goes two ways. When someone does a service for you, you paying them or instructing them to do that service, it's not a service. So it's not a two-way thing. And I'm just saying that.
So you're honestly sitting here saying that service is not a two-way street.
No, I believe service goes in exchange for provision. It's not a two-way street. I
you got
provide something, and in
yeah.
turn, you give me a service.
I got
That's not service.
All right,
That's not a
we
two-way street.
arguing like literally we're doing semantics now because I think everybody is doing service at this point.
Hold on, wait. I got.
Eric,
Let me ask him
Oh,
one
this might
quick
be a
question. Mr.
disservice,
Proof.
Trigger.
hold on.
Let me ask
We got to get Eric in there. Like literally, we haven't.
Oh,
heard
just ask him what did he call 69?
What do you? All right, God, geez, we were just talking about. Jeez, man.
Let me ask you this.
Eric, you want to get in on this?
I can get the answer to that question.
So since you believe in these reciprocal service, do your children parent you? Like, does that make sense?
Now, hold on, Cloud Jones. Let's get the fellas that haven't gone yet. Mr. Eric, what you got on it? Yeah, I'm trying to decipher.
All I was going to say is this. All I'm saying is this. Just going by everything he said, my problem is this. If you give her that much power, then who takes responsibility when things go wrong? And I think that's something that no one brought up. See, man willed power because we have to take responsibility. And I think that's the thing that's lost in all these conversations, because when shit go left, then who gonna make it back right? We do. And that's usually what happens. So when you relinquish that much power and you do that, then a part of your service is to make things right when they're wrong. And if you give that up and you let things get a little awry in your house or whatever you're doing, things can be totally out of control. And I know that each and every one of y'all thought of somebody when I said that. You know somebody that had let their house get out of control and they couldn't get it back. So that's just what I thought about the whole clip.
Bet. Luis, you got anything on this?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I was kind of taking some notes, and I was kind of thinking about the overall hierarchy of how he views his relationship. It's sort of like, God, he didn't talk about his purpose and where that aligns. He never talked about where she fits into that. It almost seems like she kind of gave her a life raft in the middle of the conversation. Like, she could do her own thing, but not realizing how does that attach to the overall arch of their relationship and their marriage. And, and I get what Bruce is saying. Like, everybody's marriage and relationship looks completely different. But I think that by not highlighting that and distinguishing it, it does a disservice to those who are out there listening, because a lot of people will listen to this and will interpret it completely different than how we would. That's why we've been going back and forth with semantics.
All right. Who hasn't got Shan? You got a
Shan
established
already,
opinion on
man.
it?
No, I ain't said a word. Y'all
Stop
y'all
lying.
jumping for 30 years, man. I've learned in 1991 or 92, I said I am not discussing the Bible in politics, because you can go any different way. The thing about it is, though, I understand what everybody's saying against Cloud Jones, but I also understand what Cloud Jones is saying against everybody. So without that said, man, the Ellises and Duvall, he be saying stuff. I mean, just 2 years ago, he was complaining about not getting no sex from his wife, and they had a whole issue with that.
Yep.
Duvall got a show to sell, y'all. Let him sell his show. Duvall got a show to sell. Let him sell his show. If you know anything about Duvall, if you guys have watched any of the Ellises over the last 10 years or whatever, you know that man is probably capping on a lot of the shit that he was saying up in there and shit. You know what I'm saying? She makes the money, but she can go do what she want to do. I'm just happy that she's still here, but she has the opportunity to leave. But I'm happy that she won't go. But I'm listening to Duvall like, bro, we know how you get down, but he has to sell that show. So I ain't gonna really trip. When it comes to the question, the question what's a shepherd? What does a shepherd do? A shepherd tends to his flock, guards his sheep, feeds them, makes sure they're good. You know, and based on the question that was scrolling across the bottom of the screen, are we of service to our wives? I would imagine that to a degree, and this is not against my man Cloud Jones, because I understand what Cloud was trying to explain. We are doing what we're doing to make sure that our entire flock, not just our wife, but our wife and our children, the dog, the cars, the house, the washing machine, the lights, is all taken care of. Because that's what we do. We cover all of that stuff. Now, whether we want to call it service, or whether we want to call it, tending to, or whether we want to call it, just providing provision, I'm not going to play with the semantics, and I'm certainly not going to jump into the Bible. But ultimately speaking, we're doing everything that we do as men to make sure that our entire kingdom, our entire enterprise, and everybody that's living up under our roof is taken care of. So that's all I gotta say. We can move on.
Man, why y'all keep saying semantics? This is not semantics. Semantics is like little pieces of points. Like, this is a pretty big deal for someone to say, well, men are not supposed to serve their wife. That's not a semantic thing.
Yeah, that's not a semantic argument.
That's a big deal. I mean, the thing that was going on with Adam, if we were going back to the Bible, is that Adam was serving the land.
Exactly. His purpose, like I said.
Yeah.
So
then that means that when Eve came along, she's a part of the land. So he is also service to her as well, but just in a different way. It's not a knock. It's
service, or is it tending?
It's not. It's almost as if you're making it seem like it's a knock to serve your wife. If I'm wrong, I'm okay with that.
Can I elaborate?
Yeah, just let me finish.
All right, we gotta finalize y'all so we get to the meat of the conversation. Y'all gonna be all day.
For sure. No, I think this is good dialogue though.
It's
fair. Okay, so all I'm saying is
it is semantic. It like literally is semantics, y'all.
I mean, I would just prefer to put this on the back end.
Fine. It's your show. I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I just want to get to the meat of the conversation. And we can go all night.
Do we serve our dog? My guard dog? Do I serve him?
Yeah, I get his food and water every day. That's about the extent of my service.
Still service.
If you guys just tuned in, welcome to King Talk.
Maintenance.
Let's make sure we get the likes up. The likes are at 271 right now. We got 450 people in here, only 271. So everybody hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's go to get to these super chats. Marriage, politics, and sports, $10. Also, member says the guy's words are off. It sounds like his wife is an ego trophy. Her not having to contribute money is another ego thing for him. She sounds spoiled. It's not a super chat, but Chicago Rilla, shout out to my guy, said, we way too quick to say simp for anything, beloved. That's a married man who built an empire with his woman, including sold out in-person shows, and he was a simp? Question.
They are rich simps. They are absolutely rich simps.
Fred,
did she build the show? Throw Rilla's up there real quick?
I just unstarted, so.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna say because he Rilla wrote it as he built an empire with the help of his wife, or did his wife build an empire with the help of her husband? That's the question. But go ahead.
All right. Fred Sir Samson Mayo Fat Dollar says, since we are bringing up biblical references, was Jesus a server? Greatness to work. Fat is also a member. Says Jesus was not God. He sits at the table. He sits at the right hand. He came to show us the way, the truth, the light. This is deep, brothers. Once assessed, it's unstoppable. I think it might have been all the comments so far. So we need one more. Oh, okay. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Sorry, I'll say we only need one more hour on this topic, JR. LOL. Yeah, we'll go all night whenever. I don't have a problem doing that. Just on the back end. Some people got to go, so I want to make sure I get everybody's perspective on this. Moving on to our last topic, which is the meat of the conversation. We know the ladies like the meat. Here we go. How important is it to introduce a woman to new life experience? How important is it to introduce a woman to new life experience? Let me go ahead and play this clip. Okay.
You on mute.
You muted. You guys see the topic, how important it is to introduce a woman to new life experiences. Now I know we're not famous on here, right? But I do want to.
I'm
You
famous.
got okay. Well, you famous, Mike. You a different story, man. You got a morning show, so it's on a whole nother level. But I wanted to bring this question into like just the everyday person, the regular man, right? Oh, you have a woman that's had experienced things. And I'm not talking. This has nothing to do with sex, so please don't bring up sex. But let's just say a woman that's like between the ages of 25 plus, maybe 28 plus. She's undone a few things. As men, do we value a woman? Not value. Do we like a woman where we can introduce new life experience with? Let's go ahead and talk about it.
All right. I wrote this down. So I just need to get this out early. Listening to Bow Wow, he was a terrible example. I wish somebody else would have said it. Anybody but him. But I still got the gist of what he was saying. And this is actually very important for young men, again, to understand. And you need no more teacher, no greater teacher than Gen Z and millennials to tell you that men are meant to experience women with no experience. Now that we've seen what happens when men tend to try to glorify all this woman has done, right? And ooh, she got all these nice things. She's been around the block. We know it is a disaster when you get with a woman like this. Women with all types of experiences tend to be extremely arrogant. Am I the only one that believes that? They are arrogant. They will not use that experience to teach you or work with you. They will use it against you at every single turn. They will challenge you at every single turn. And men are not meant to experience that. We are not meant to experience that. And unfortunately for those women, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying that you count this woman out or you meant it. But when you look at what's good for your life and the way you are supposed to be a teacher to your woman, the way you are supposed to provide her experiences so she can exalt you. Have you ever had a woman in your arm? I mean, like you doing stuff for her and she looking up at you and you look down and catch her gaze and you like, this woman looking at me like I'm God or something. A woman with experience doesn't do that. You will not have women. You will not have that experience with those women who are too experienced because it's not how you are meant to experience women. This is why most men, if they get out of their first marriage, they wait a little bit. What type of woman do they go get? Automatically, they go get a younger woman, a woman that hasn't, who they can teach some things, a woman that's appreciative. That's the biggest part of it. She appreciates everything you do for her. And until a man doesn't have that, he doesn't know he needs it. My mic is muted.
All right, so this is a good topic, and this shed a light on a lot of stuff we just spoke about. Good way to line it up, JR. So it is absolutely important to introduce a woman to new life experience. If and only if you want to serve her, you want to provide acts of service to your woman. You want to be able to take her places. You want to be able to do things for her. You want to be able to give her new experiences. If you want to be able to inflict some type of joy and excitement into her, then yes. But if you are the opposite to where you only care that she serves you, then it might be privy for you to have a woman who has experience already, because she'll be just doing a service to you. So it might be better optimized for you to have a woman that's already, her cup is already full. She coming in the game with already knowing. You get what you can swing over that laugh. You get my point though. Go ahead.
You ain't shit, Bruce. You ain't shit, man. Look here. Let me say. I guess the something I want to introduce is as a successful marriage. That's what I want to introduce my future wife, because I didn't experience that, unfortunately, with my first one, and I definitely want to make sure I do that with my second one. So those are one thing I definitely want to introduce her to. Now, some of the stuff, it sounds real egotistical, right? Sound like, your pride's getting away, like, oh, I want to show this. Well, so what? She's able to do those things already, but she's never done it with you. So that's new to her. She might have done it with say, Trigger Mike or Shan, but she didn't. She never went with him, and I'm gonna give her a different experience than what Trigger or Shan may be giving her. So I don't know.
I don't know about that, Hank. I might have to
about that,
challenge
Hank.
you on that one.
When I take you went to Aruba with me.
You know what I'm saying?
When I took her to Aruba, you didn't take her to where I took her.
Oh, okay, man. Okay, God damn.
Let me tell you this, Hank. A woman today between the ages of 18 and 25 has more opportunity to go and experience and see the world than any man between the ages of 18 to 25. Because between 18 to 25, that young man has not built up his value, has not worked to cultivate anything yet. He's getting there. He's on pace, even if he's in an established environment, you know, like how we talked about last week, he still has not arrived. He's still focused on, you know, head on a swivel, heading towards the track line, right? But a woman between the ages of 18 and 25 is getting flued out. It's getting on yachts. We see it all the time. Let's be very honest. These women are outside. You see it, I see it, we know it. They have far more greater experiences to be invited to VIP concerts, backstage, you know, Coachella, etc. They just have that much access, that much greater access. You know why? Because their beauty is their currency. That's what gets them in. Unfortunately, no young man between the ages of 18 and 25 has that kind of access or that kind of currency without backing it up with any type of money, right? So it's hard to impress those types of women who are running towards those types of experiences, right? They want to get those experiences out the way. And though I could kind of although I can understand where you're coming with the sentiment that she hasn't done those things with you, and that's in a completely different experience. But to kind of echo a little bit of what Trigger Mike said earlier, I've been there. Like, they're not appreciative of that. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit arrogant. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from firsthand experience. You know, they done something that you didn't do, and they're like, "Oh, you never been there? You never done that?" Oh, like very dismissive. So you need to kind of, you know, do one up what the last guy did. Like, you gotta understand, women date up. They don't date down. They date parallel.
So Louis basically the girl got Louise tatted on her, but she ain't never had Hank tatted on her. It's different. It's a different pain.
You ain't lying.
I don't think most women have access to getting on yachts and shit. I don't think that.
No, they do.
No, they don't. Because I can tell you right now, I've been to a lot of places on vape, you know what I mean? As far as, well, I've been to Miami, and I can tell you, majority of them women paid their way to be down there. They ain't going down there for free, getting on yachts and stuff.
Sweetie.
Like, a lot of them paid for it. That's why they be sitting over there counting burgers and French fries and stuff amongst each other, because they really can't afford to be down there.
What was the method of currency? Was it flesh or actual cash?
So they paying cash. Shit, these women, most people don't have access. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be real with you.
Sweetie saying most of them is average.
When I went down to Miami, right? Me and my wife went to Miami. We went on. We went on. What is it called? Our anniversary, right? And we went to some resort like 200 miles north of there. So we just went down to Miami overnight. You want to know what I seen? What most women out there were doing? The same shit we was doing. Paying to get on that little booze cruise where they served you some hot dogs and some watered down tequila. That's what most of them people down there doing. When I went to the beach, most of them people were sitting over there on the beach, hoping to get, you know what I mean, with they pouch drinks. You know what I mean? They couldn't afford the cabana. You know what I mean?
What about the dimes though? Because it sounds like you hang around with bucketheads.
What I'm saying is that most of them people are average.
Bucketheads.
You hang around average joints.
What a buckethead is.
I don't know what a buckethead is.
I'm gonna start using it.
put a bucket over her head and you just keep going.
What I would say this, because I was sitting up here like, man, because like they advertised to you, because I was planning out this trip and whatnot. So you go down there, you like, man, I want to get on the yacht. I want to ride on the yacht. So they show you yacht party. You be like, all right, man, it's a yacht party. And then you get down there and it's booze cruise, where you get on one of them little pontoon boats. Where's one of them little pontoon boats? Where it's 2 levels.
You got on it. You got on it too. You got it.
Oh, did everybody just miss? Did everybody just miss?
You
the
got
fact
on
that
that.
No, I want to answer it.
Did y'all miss the fact that JR was drinking from one of them drink pouches just a second ago? He was like, I know.
I'm like, seriously though, like, but you know what they say when they come back? Oh, I was at a yacht party. No, you weren't. You was on a pontoon boat with the lights and the hot dogs and chips and the water down.
Let that man dream, man.
On a banana boat in a dinghy.
Take a selfie.
He's one of the people that he just got to be too.
Take a selfie like a mother.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I had a good time too. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie and come back to y'all and be like, man, I was at a yacht party. No, I was on a booze cruise with the other regular folk. You know what I mean? Bunched up. You know what I mean? It was a nice view. You could see the city. It was very pretty, but I can tell you right now, I took 102 shots that night and I didn't get drunk once. That was some watered down tequila.
Well, we live in society today where if you feel like you was on a yacht, then you was on a yacht.
And here is the
gotta be
difference between a man being self-aware and a woman being self-aware. Excellent
Thank
example,
you, Sir Hale.
I do want to jump in here though about it's an important for a man to introduce new experiences. I would say yes. Now this depends on age. If you over 40, you can't really expect, depending on what you got going on in your life, you really can't expect her not to have lived and done stuff. And I would say if you like in business or something like that where it benefits you for her to have experience with knowing how to connect with executives or knowing how to move about a room, then in some cases her having experiences can really be a big benefit to you. I think the issue here, however, is this: that so many women don't know what it costs, like what it really costs to provide those experiences. And once she gets them for free, she takes it for granted. I think that's where the real issue is. So I say this: if a man is young, try to get you a woman, one of them kind of women who don't want to do things, if she want to wait to do it with her husband. You know what I mean? Like she go on vacation, but she's not gonna go.
Where they make that at, Sir Hill? Where they make that model at?
You just said let the man dream. I want to let people dream, man. I want to let people dream, right? So
they closed that factory down. Model 7.
I want to add to what.
So ladies, slap a woman to get her to
that model has been recalled.
Okay. Yeah, but so ladies who are listening to King Talk, it's important that you reserve some things. I know, so I'm not taking it back to sex, but it's part of the reason why men like virgins. The concept is she don't know stuff, and I can show her some things. And from that experience, we got a deeper connection in the bond. I think that's what a lot of men look for. And when women have an abundance of experience, it's almost like they can't be told or taught anything, and they can't be molded. And most men want a woman that they can mold to his particular desire. So I would say to ladies who are watching this, don't try to live and do everything in life. If you want to be married, reserve some of that stuff for your guy, so that some of the a degree of innocence, can make your relationship flourish. And
in other words, don't give them the whole.
Yes, I think so many women are taught to go do everything, and nothing's new to them. You know what I mean? And it's born being with a girl and nothing new to her. Like, you know what I mean? Like nothing new. Nothing excites her. Women should hold off, especially if they're younger. Reserve some experiences for you and your man. That's what I believe.
Young girls,
I want to add to what Sir Hill just said, man, because I think it's very important. I think we live in a society where a lot of men serve women, and I feel as though because so many men are serving these women, they want to show women all type of experiences, which is a great thing to show women experiences. But I think it's very important that those experiences are more of a reward for their service. So I think the problem we're having today is like, should a man show women new experiences? Absolutely. But it should be a reward for her service. If men are out here showing women new experiences,
they're doing it to get them.
Show them new experiences to get them. what happens is they're creating women who can't appreciate it because they didn't do anything to earn it. So it goes back to my point before about serving women. So many men are out here serving women, trying to just show them a good time and show them how great they are, when it's like, no, show her appreciation for her service. Maintain your relationship by rewarding her for her service, but rewarding her isn't service. So, you know.
Hey, y'all want to know what's more dangerous than a woman with a lot of experience? The one that pretends that she has a lot of experience. How many of y'all know women that think that they have a lot of experience just because they seen such and such on Instagram with that experience, and they start living vicariously through people that they see around them?
Why is that dangerous though, Sweeney? When you find out, when you find out that she really don't, what's the downside?
I would say because at least, all right,
he ended up unsatisfied.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce, for cleaning that up.
Because he's expecting her to be able to, you know. Okay, JR said don't talk about sex.
Guac 3000. I don't know, man.
Trying to take it there.
Listen, you know, is it important to? Oh wait, how important is it to introduce a woman to new life experiences? One of the things that you'll hear of women of all ages, even older spinsters, say is, I want a man who can teach me something. Like when you ask a woman, if you poll a women, or you know, if you guys speak to women, or if you counsel them or whatever, and you say, you know, what are you looking for in a man? I want somebody that can show me something, or that can teach me something. They all say that, even the ones with PhDs and has been all over the world, they still say that, right? Because once the more experience she gets, she's now looking for Christian Grey over at, you know what I'm saying? She's looking for that kind of stuff. But I'm 50 years old, fellas. I'm 50 years old and I'm single. I'm 50 years old and I'm single. So imagine this. Here I'm right at that pinnacle. I'm where I tell people I could date the daughter, the mama, or the grandma. You know, I could date 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old, or 55-year-old woman. Now, if all of them say, I want somebody that can teach me something, what are the chances of me teaching the 25 and 35-year-old something new versus the 45 and the 55-year-old? I do all kind of stuff, you guys. I snowboard, I hike, I travel. You know, that's why I pulled out the passport. I do business, I go camping. You know, concerts and festivals. Just went to a 90s concert at Staples Center. You know, and so if I'm dating somebody, do I want to go with a woman who says, oh, I've been there, I did that. Oh, yeah, the last time I went, we did this. We should go and I'll take you here and show you something. Or would I rather have the woman that says, wow, this is amazing. Thank you for, I had no idea this was like this. I've never been here. With Bow Wow, I understand what he's saying. He took his girl to Vegas. She's never been to Vegas. Now you on the strip. She's looking at the lights like, this is, wow, look at the Luxor and let's go to, what's the wind? What does that look like? And, you know, versus the woman that says, oh, look, let me go see my friends. My homegirl, she at this one spot. And then I know the bouncer over here. And then let me tell you, the last time I was here, I stayed on the 5th, and then you like, well, goddamn, what am I gonna teach you if women want someone to teach them something?
Hold on, wait. She said she stayed on the fifth floor in what room? Because I might have. No, I was just kidding.
Exactly. So, is it important for me to be able to, if women want to be taught something, is it important for me to be able to provide that teaching? Is it important for me to be able to teach her something new? I don't know if you guys have taken a woman camping. You know, most women haven't gone camping. You know, and it's like, oh, you know, what is it like? If you to take somebody camping outdoors, pop a tent, you're out there for the weekend, you guys are hiking, you put on some boots. A lot of women don't realize how fun that could be. A lot of people haven't gone to the snow, you know, skiing. I've never been on skis before, or I've never been on a snowboard. But to give somebody that first experience, now maybe that's something that they'll do for a lifetime, but to be the guy that gave her that first experience, she's gonna remember you the same way she remembers the person that took her virginity.
Yep.
She's gonna be like, wow. I've been here a lot, but I remember the first time I went camping. And imagine if you is the face that pops in her mind, maybe privately, that took her camping for the very first time. That took her to that concert that went to Coachella for the very first time. Yeah. That took her to Italy, or took her to the Louvre, or took her to Paris for the very first time. And she's never been there before. I think it's extremely important for most men to be able to provide that for a woman. I know it is for me. Shannon, and what are the odds of me getting that from the younger women versus the older women? Well, you guys, you can decide that.
Shan said something important though, and I think is a key, that women have to want to have different experiences. So if you think about it, a lot of women get locked into, they want to do this thing that they're used to. Very few are willing to step out and go do something different, to go look at the arts, or look at, go to music, different things like that. Shane brought up a really good point. So I think if you can do that, show her a different side of life that she hasn't experienced, I think that's a very good point.
Because I was gonna actually say that, because I don't think most people have very many experience. Like if you even talk to like the average person, they talk about the same 3 places over and over again: Vegas,
Jamaica,
Miami,
Jamaica,
and possibly I think like Chicago and Mexico. Like I don't like. There's so much more. Like there's a shit ton of stuff to do just in this country alone.
Yeah,
like going to go see the Grand Canyon, going up to what is it called? What the heck is the name of that national park? Yellowstone. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't even know there was mountains in California. I kid you not, until I drove through there. So it's like, it's so much stuff. Like I tell people all the time, this is one of the few countries in the world where you can experience, where we have it all. If you want mountains, we got them. If you want the desert, we got it. If you want sandy beaches, we got it. If you want the big city, we got it. If you want entertainment, we got it. It's here. But everybody talks about the same 3 or 4 places. So I don't think it's that hard to find somebody who hasn't really experienced anything. I think it just goes to what Sir Hale and Shannon said, where they said you got to find somebody that's willing to experience something different from what they're used to. And once you find that person, it becomes easy.
So what I don't want to get lost in this, because I'm looking at the chat and the ladies are pissed because they're a part of the generation that goes everywhere by themselves. It is important that men give these women these experiences. It's important that men give these women these experiences to not dictate. What's the word I'm looking for? For them to be open to how they experience things in the future. You realize that a woman that experiences things with her man wants to keep experiencing them with her man.
Yeah.
These women now get used to traveling by themselves, right? And they want to put up all the pictures. And it's not even about the vacation. It's about the gram and the way they can make their life look to everybody else, right? So they no longer want to experience things in a certain way. They're, like I said, arrogant, like, oh, I've done that before, and then sharing too much about what they did on that particular vacation. So it's important for a woman to want to be able to go somewhere with her husband, to delight in it, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm that type. I thought I was somebody who was an extrovert and all this. That was bullshit. I enjoy spending time with my wife, my kids. If my homeboys have asked me to go on vacation, it's not that appealing to me no more. I can't wait to go on the family cruise, right? Because I set aside time to make sure I'd actually be interested in that stuff. I think Angry Man or someone said it a long time ago, and he's like, he doesn't understand why people don't realize why he wants to spend time with his wife, because he actually likes her.
Yeah, I do kind of want to add on to what you were saying, Trigger Mike, too. And it starts with the men. You know, I can't really fault the woman, because if a woman gonna experience it just is what it is. But as a man, I don't think that we understand. It starts early, and I don't think we understand what living life really is. So if you think about the little bubble that you've been in all your life, that's all you know. So that's the reason, like Sweeney said, you go to the Miamis, you go to the Vegas, and you go to the LAs, because that's all you know. So you got to step out your comfort zone a little bit earlier, so that when you meet a woman, because if if you meet a woman that has experience, it's gonna humble you. Like you thought you gone places, you thought you seen the world, until you meet somebody that actually went a few places, and you like, damn, I got a lot to learn. And it is right what Trigger Mike says is that when you're able to introduce, when you're cultured, when you had these experiences, you're able to introduce most women because most people don't have the experience like Sweeney said. Like most men don't have these experiences. They don't know nothing about it. So if you can figure out the cheat codes, like the small things that everybody else is not going to, then that's something that you can introduce that's new to somebody. But you gotta do the research. You gotta put the work in. It's almost like a woman likes a man that's able to decide where to go, that's able to make a decision, that's able to just take it to the whole next level, man. It don't have to be nothing expensive, nothing big. It's just the hidden gem. So whenever you look for a city, start looking up some things to do because most people don't do that. Most people just go because they just look on Instagram and look on social media and they just see the same stuff over and over again. But actually look to see what that city has to offer, and that's a cheat code for men. That's all I got to say.
And I think you brought up a good point too.
Okay.
I think you brought up the point of when a lady, because the issue we have now in modern society is that women don't want to change the way they experience things. But I encourage men, like you said, to find a woman that, yeah, maybe has experience with things, but in the way that benefits you. So women that are really family oriented will be great candidates for wives. If they've gone everywhere with their father, if they've gone everywhere in the family aspect, oh, you should try this. We went there one time as a family. We went for Thanksgiving. That's actually good experience. So I think we can.
That's a good point.
Yes. Go ahead.
And then something else I wanted to put in there too. I mean, think about. I'm gonna use Chicago as an example, right? And I just had this experience. When somebody goes to Chicago, when they don't know anything about Chicago, they think they had a good time. But when somebody that actually lives in Chicago and somebody comes in tours and you take them, it's on a whole nother level. That just shows you that Chicago has more to offer than what is actually seen on the tour scene. It's like they don't know the places to go. They just go to the same places that they see people constantly posting. That's why I say it's important for you to do the research. And like Sweeney said, it's a lot to do. It's a lot of things that people don't even realize is actually here. I got a friend, and she sent me some pictures. I forgot where it was at. I'm like, damn, what the hell
I
is
just
that?
want to go to O Block.
And it was in the U.S. And O Block.
You don't want to go to O Block. There ain't nothing there for you.
It ain't nothing special, man. But according to social media, they make it sound like it's a landmark. So that's all I got on.
Do y'all remember on Daddy's Little Girls, right? When he was driving the lady around and they was talking about some, oh, you with the driver? Even in that instance, this is probably a woman that was well-traveled, well-spoken, done seen it all, done it all. And when he took her to that damn hole in the wall joint with a dude where you had you know what I mean, and she had a Negro good time. She ain't never experienced that before. She grew up with two good parents that put her through Yale and whatnot. She ain't never experienced going to a whole, like, some people ain't never experienced soul food before. So it just depends. Like we're saying, is just like you just got to be able to pull somebody out of what they're used to. Because some people are just used to doing all the extravagant stuff, the stuff that makes the ground. Everybody's used to that. Everybody sees it, so they get used to it. And then next thing you know, you hit your lady upside the head with going to the little local hole in the wall joint, and she like, damn, I had more fun here than I had in Miami.
So I think the point of this, and this is really good. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the Negro good time. It traumatized me. You saying that, Sweeney. I'm gonna remember that. I think it's important that men don't try to give women the best of their world. Like a lot of guys will see she's well traveled and give her more of that. I think a guy got to be true to himself and get her into what he likes, and then I think that generates new experiences. I think every man should be able to. And that was a really good game, JR. Because truth be told, I don't think I do that enough when I go travel, and I go different places. But actually looking up unique places within that city to go to try those new experiences, that's some good game that I think all the brothers could benefit from. And go to by yourself. One thing my older brother told me to do, he's like 50. He told me, he said, hey, bro, before you take your girl, my wife, before you go there, check out the restaurant first. So that way, when you go, you know what's hot on the menu, you know what's the best seller. And if she says, baby, hey, what do you recommend? You can have a recommendation there, right? So you go and get some of that experience for yourself. You know, the atmosphere, how to dress, how to be there, what kind of people are going to be there. And I think that helps pull her into your world and create that new experience with her.
So, Sir Hale, you said, damn, what did you say at the beginning there?
I'm 35 years old, so I think I forgot.
Okay.
I could rewind
No,
it.
you had said that take a woman to do things that you like to do and not just the things that, you know, she's used to and she expects. But I think there's a big hole there because this generation of women don't want to do any of that. In fact, they call it all types of names now. They call it struggle love. And they want to live in the facade of whatever is extravagant. That daddy little girls, that type of stuff, that's the stuff men actually dream of. When you really look at the humble beginnings you came from and the culture, that's a part of your culture. That's actually a part of who you are. And I don't know if anybody else has ever done this. I tried that with an ex. And I think Drake has even written songs about it, where I'm trying to show you parts of my life and you just dissing me left and right because these beginnings were humble and not extravagant, right? It's not stuff you can put on the gram. You don't want to experience me at all, right? And that's really, I think, the delusional woman that we have today, where she doesn't want to go backwards in and immerse herself in your life. She wants to continue living in the facade. She wants to bring you up into that facade to maintain that fantasy for her. That's what it's all about. And I think that's very unfortunate, because if we really want to put a new bullet point in wife material, I think that's an absolute good one to put. Is she willing to experience all of you? Not the person you grew up into, but the humble beginnings of you. I think that's very important.
Hey, Shannon, I think I finally got an answer to your question. When you asked me why is that more dangerous, and I just sat here and thought about it, is that when you say, for instance, you know what I mean, you get your girl young, y'all have never experienced anything together. However, she experienced things through Instagram. She starts to either one, act like she's more experienced than you in these areas, or two, starts to expect you to automatically start taking her to these places that you may not even be in a position even to get going on that. Like, so that could be the dangerous aspect of it. I just sat here and just thought about that for a second. I just wanted to let you know I had an answer for you.
And then she'll compare notes on what she find on Instagram to see if it was all right. And if it don't add up, she'll act like she knew better, and she'll act like you didn't measure up. I hear you, bro.
Right. Like, so you go to Miami and she just seen on Instagram that people was doing yacht parties, and then you take her to Miami and she found out the yacht party is just a booze cruise with the pontoon boat.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we'll never stop hearing the end of this booze cruise.
Yeah.
I'm literally gonna look up what the hell it is now, because now I want to go on one.
Hey, you know what I'm thinking about when you say that? I'm thinking about them people that be right on the trolley where they just be all pedaling.
No, not that. It's like, so if you go down there, it's like these double-decker pontoon boats, and
it's like a houseboat.
Yeah,
with a
so
bar.
you get on there and they put, it ain't even no doggone bar on that, man. It's just two dudes sitting up there behind a little table thing, and they just pulling out little bottles of watered down tequila, and I'm telling you, and like they make it sound so good. They be like, man, we serve y'all food, free liquor, all you can drink, and then you get on there, you like, okay, so this is what y'all doing.
You got to start vetting. You got to start vetting these places a little bit better, man.
Hey, well, I still had a good time though. Don't get me wrong. We still had a good time, but like you just recognize that, okay,
we had a Negro good time.
It's not the like they show you the picture of the yacht, and then when you finally get there, you like, that ain't no yacht.
Man, you gotta start looking at them stars, man. Them stars mean a lot, man. If it ain't 4.5 and better, I don't even want to look at it, man. I'll check multiple sources and check the ratings.
Oh no, you know how it is. When you sit there, you like, because when you actually go and you look at what a real yacht party is, you find out you talking about $1,000 or better to get in there. Like, I'll take the booze cruise.
You got to check Yelp. Check the Yelp ratings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to get final thoughts on this one, man. But definitely, Sir Hale, look into the cities. And I had to learn. Somebody told me that. I was dating somebody, and they would always do the research. And when I go out, they would have everything laid out already. And I was just like, damn, like I would have never thought to even look at this shit. So that's actually a cheat code to research like what the city has to offer. And everything's on the internet, so it's one of those easy things for you to do. And it plays into a man's favor to being prepared and having structure as far as what it is that you want to do while you're there. At the same time, you're giving her a new experience because 9 times out of 10, a lot of folks ain't doing it. So I strongly suggest that. But any final thoughts for anybody else?
Man, I wanna go to Cuba. When they get that shit already right, get it together. I want to see them old school cars, man. I'm a fan of old school cars, so I want to. It'd be one of my experiences. Is going to
get
Cuba.
what right? We can go right now.
Well,
ain't nothing left to get right.
I gotta let some shit work itself out, Shane. But yeah, I definitely want to get over there so I can see a lot of them old school cars. I'm a big fan of old school cars. So
yeah, my final thoughts is this to the guys, don't get used to let me start with myself. So I like to go to work. I like a very routine life. I go to work, I go to the gym, I come up with my family. Don't get into that routine. Like live a little bit. Like take a Saturday or weekend, go and do stuff. Like somebody said it earlier about getting out your comfort zone. Get out your comfort zone, go experience some stuff and find out what makes you happy about life. Like for me, I love NASCAR. And coming from Chicago to Texas, I live not far from the from the racetrack. I just go there, right? Because I love that. Like that's my thing. So now because that's my thing, my wife goes with me and we go talk. That it's just my spot to go. Like get out, go do little things, go test some stuff out. Go out on a Saturday, go to different restaurants, try different steaks, different restaurants, whatever your food choice is. Go walk, like go to different beaches, different activities outside, things that don't cost money, right? Go to different wine tastings if your girl is into wine. Like go get out and go do different things. So when it's time to plan stuff, not only are you the expert in her eyes, but she kind of looks at you as not only as a leader, but as somebody who really took the time to be thorough in what he brought her into the experience that she has. So guys, don't just get used to working and having a beer and watching TV. Get out and go enjoy your life and live. It's going to make you a much more well-rounded man. It is going to be a lot more fun to be around you for your girl and for your kids as well. So get out and live a little bit and then bring your girl into that world.
Hold on, sir. You say you're from Chicago?
Yes, sir. From Illinois.
Where?
Chicago Heights.
No, man, that's not Chicago, man.
Well, born Little Company of Meredith, so right there.
I was born Little Company of Meredith. Okay, yeah. Like I was born in Jackson Park over there in Stony.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. I just want to mention. I know he's from Chicago, man.
Yes,
let me know when you go to that racetrack too.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, let me know. I'll go ahead and tag in on that one. Anybody else?
Yeah, Sir Hale brought up just real quick. Something. It's actually very important for Black men. Because when you look at the rate at which like Black men have passports and all of that, it's extremely low. And I actually had a relationship end because of this. To think about it, interestingly enough, those were some of the words, she said in the email, text messages. You never want to do anything different. You seem complacent with this life you're living. And I 100% was. Now, it took time. Naturally, it took time. To the point where she was upset at the person I became, and we weren't together.
Aren't they all?
Anymore.
Aren't they always?
Exactly. To the point where I'm about to get married, and she's like, "Well, according to your Instagram, you just became this huge traveler, lover of all things." But no, I absolutely encourage men to do what Sir Hill was speaking about, and the reason why I want to say it is because there's a roadblock there for Black men where you don't want to do anything that's outside of the that seems weird. You call a lot of things that just are for people to experience the world. You call it white, you seem like it's other than Black. And just like he said, the racetrack, those things are awesome. All of those sports that you think you wouldn't be interested in. Here in Houston, we got the racetrack, and it's a bunch of Black people in there. I never would have thought about that ever. Right. So I encourage people to get into different things, whether it's firearms like me, just go to competitions, shooting competitions, anything like that. Learn the sport, learn something new. It'll really change your life, because those activities you can pass on to your children. You can experience them with your wife, so on and so forth. So I encourage that.
All right. Anybody else? I don't sound like it, man. It's like y'all done tapped out, man. Y'all make sure y'all catch Trigger Mike show in the morning. Happy Wife, Happy Life is a scam. It's going live at 11:45 a.m. Central Time. So make sure y'all tap in and Trigger Mike.
So DeVal inspired that, y'all. That DeVal clip inspired that.
Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel on your way out. Make sure you guys follow these individuals on their platform. Trigger Mike has a YouTube. Sir Hill does. Luis, great designer. Make sure you guys follow him. Shannon Ross has a YouTube. Hink in the Basement YouTube. Bruiser has a YouTube. And Sweeney, you can find him here, man. Some great things coming our way too. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. A great conversation. I'll make sure y'all be safe out there, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you. And we out, y'all.